next hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on this Monday afternoon. Leodwin Seabury, he's finally with us officially. He'll be training this week, so you'll hear him every once in a while. I'm sure he'll shout things out behind my back there's a laugh right there from him. But he'll be training this week. He'll really be with us the next couple of weeks as we get him going. Very excited to have him as it's our first day without Johnny Hill, who was our producer for a while, did a great job with us. He's on took a job in Detroit. He'll be starting that in the next couple of weeks. So we're very happy for him, very excited for him, and very excited to start something new with Leodwin as our producer. But plenty to get to. Busy weekend in the sports world. We now know where the Grizzlies will be picking because of the NBA draft lottery, and I don't think anybody was happy about it when it happened yesterday. We also had a lot of NBA playoff news and some other news. We're also getting a lot of scheduling information on a lot of different fronts, so we'll get to a lot of that. Plenty of things to get to this afternoon. But, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well, and it is really good to be with you and Leodwin. So glad that, like we said on Friday, to have Leodwin as a part of our team, and we'll hear and see a lot more from him, and really excited, and just wish our very best to our dear friend Johnny Hill on his way to Motown.
That's right.
to Detroit, and we'll check in and visit with Johnny quite a bit during the various seasons with all things going on up there, and with the NFL. In the NFL, you mentioned a lot of NFL scheduling leaks. They've made the big show on NFL Network and on ESPN for Wednesday night, 7 Central. But by that time, just about everything will have been leaked out. But we'll get that formally. We're getting some now. We got the big first opening night game for Thursday night, September 5th, with the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, hosting the MVP, hosting Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. So Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes on opening night. You defensive coordinators sleep well from now until opening night, trying to defend those two. The lottery was again just a continuation of everywhere we turn. We keep waiting for the next kind of patch of good news in Grizzlies, and we're wanting it so badly. We're desperate for it, and it was more just right to the keister. I mean, it was horrible to watch, and I still think the Grizzlies can get a good player. Here's what I'm on. I'm on team production, on who can score. I'm not that worried about big or wing or point guard or handling the ball. I want somebody who can put the ball through the basket, because that's what I think this modern NBA, even at playoff time, even when defense is ratcheted up and a little more of an emphasis on it, I think it's like Rob Fisher said, the old Ralph Lawler kind of saw of a race to 100. It's the Rob Fisher saw, race to 110 now.
Yeah.
And first team to 110, it does you a lot of good. First team to 115, you're really in good shape. That might be Rob and Brett's law there. But I want somebody who can score the basketball consistently. I'm on team, in no certain order, Dillingham, Connect, Klingon, Shepard. I want to be able to score.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I think, you hear so much about this draft and what this draft class looks like. And I was reading something earlier, kind of takeaways from the NBA lottery, and it said they did this whole paragraph about how, what if you won a lottery, but the winning for the lottery was just like a DVD? And that's what kind of this feels like, is there's no Victor Wembanyama in this draft. There's no player that you're going to build your entire franchise.
It's the guy that hit the half-court shot at the Grizzlies game and got a year's worth of tater tots.
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, it's nice. It's cool. I'm glad I have that year's worth of tater tots, but it's not life-altering. It's not generational wealth or anything. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I can't quit my job over winning a year's worth of tater tots.
No, not at all. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to really get anything super big from this draft. Now, there will be surprises, and there are going to be guys, I think, out of this draft that end up being really, really good NBA players. But this isn't one of those where there's a surefire number one or surefire top five. It's a lot of really good players. And so it's going to be interesting to see not only how the Grizzlies go about preparing for the draft, but how all of these teams go about it. And we'll see if they keep that pick and take one of these guys. I think you go best available, or if they decide to try to trade out of it and see what they can get on the trade market.
4 Eastern teams in front of the Grizzlies, 4 Western teams in front of the Grizzlies. Of the 8 teams in front of the Grizzlies, if the Grizzlies keep the pick, they'll be drafting at number 9. We know San Antonio, don't we expect San Antonio to do smart things with those 2 picks,
Sure.
2 picks
Sure.
in front of. I mean, they're going to be a problem again really soon.
Absolutely. I think you would think, it's a lot to play with, but I think you also got to think, we talk about trading the pick and everything, and I think a lot of teams are probably talking about that, but there's got to be another team that wants to trade up into this draft. And the way people have been talking about this draft, I just don't know what teams are going to give up to get up into the top 10 or the top 5. And so we'll see. I know there's been a lot of talk ever since, really for a while, but now with the Hawks winning the draft lottery, there's been a lot of talk of what will the Hawks do, as now it feels like full rebuild for them. And DeJounte Murray has been kind of a guy that maybe they move off of, and now Trae Young, another name that it sounds like a lot of rumors circulating around, maybe they move him. So, we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of movements this offseason. And
you can just feel it. If they move off of both of those players, they'll end up in the West.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, that's kind of what happens with stars almost. It seems like, oh, you're really good in the East, stay over there in the East, and then they come over to the West, and you have to see them for the Grizzlies. But no, we'll see. I know I think Victor Wembanyama was asked about it or something like that, and he said that he was really intrigued about the idea of playing with Trae Young. So who knows? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But for the Atlanta Hawks, Brett, we were talking about it off air before the show started about how this was a team that was in the play-ins and, was right there with a shot of, being able to continue the season in the playoffs, and they go out there a 3% chance of winning the lottery. They go out and win it, and, I think the NBA has done a lot of things with the lottery to try to say, we do not want anybody tanking. Do not tank. And then you see a team like Detroit that had just such a bad season. They get the number 5th pick again. And then you see a team like Toronto who I think lost like 21 of their last 24 games of the season, really went full tank later.
Sure did.
They drop, and then that pick it gets sent somewhere else. They don't even get their lottery pick because of how the draft lottery played out. So it was interesting to kind of see how a team that was good enough to get in the play-in gets the number 1 pick, and these teams that were really doing a tough job trying to tank. I mean, they were going out there showing, hey, we're trying to lose these games. One team gets a 5th, and one team doesn't even get their lottery pick. Yeah,
and the team that got the 5th, the other team needs a 5th from missing out on that. Poor Detroit, too. I mean, we were on 73 Philadelphia 76ers watch for a lot of the year to see if they could get over the 9 wins that the Sixers had in 1973. They did and ended up easily, but they've just been so bad, and they got stung by it. I just can't understand why we just don't. They had a good night of it. They had a good afternoon of it. Mm-hmm. Really good promotion.
Sure.
But is it worth it for the simplest thing is last, go first? And if you're last and you have LeBron James coming through the draft and you decide we want to draft him next spring, next June, next summer.
Yeah.
And if we have to, we're going 0-82. Okay, well, the next team everybody can't go 0-82.
No.
Somebody's only one, I guess, no, I know only one could. And so do you really want to do that to your ticket buying public and to your fans? And what if you didn't get it? What if Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes along once in about a lifetime, two or three like him, and the Bucks win the coin toss with the Phoenix Suns or they don't get him.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix Suns probably have their championship by
Sure.
now. Probably would have got it very early in the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar years, like he got it in Milwaukee. I think in year 2 or year 3,
Sure.
at the very most was year 3. He was that good, and they made some other deals around him. I don't think Oscar Robertson would have wanted to have gotten dealt to the Bucks if Lou Alcindor goes to the Phoenix Suns and the Bucks get Neil Walk.
No, not at all. No, but I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you look over to the NFL, and I mean, how far along were we into the season when people started saying, "Oh, the Chicago Bears, they're going to take Caleb Williams," and now what do they do with the guys they have, or do they stick with Justin Fields and take a receiver at number 1? I mean, that was during the regular season
when Caleb Williams was even talking about not going to Chicago.
Yes, and maybe I'll just come back another year. I'm making plenty of NIL money, and maybe I'll just do that. So I mean, we're already seeing it in the NFL, and it doesn't seem like it's too big of an issue. I mean, you don't see in the NBA, Roger Goodell coming out saying, "All right, guys, we're not going to do this tanking business," and that's not good. I mean, it just seems like those teams go out there and play, and so it is interesting. I understand you don't want to. You want to try to give teams a reason to go out there and not tank, because tanking's awful. But at the same time, I mean, if a team's bad and they need the help,
losing's awful.
Yeah, I mean,
whether you slap a T word on it or not, losing's awful.
bad. And so I think teams
whether it's
that
from
are
injuries
bad
or
need the
just
first
being
pick.
bad,
right? Yeah. So I don't know. It's very weird how all these different leagues decide how to do their draft process.
Yeah, it is. I mentioned I was on team offensive production. Mm-hmm. I'm on a lot of teams. I'm on the Grizzlies. I'm on the Grizzlies team first and foremost. I want them to do well. I want them to do well for a lot of reasons. The civic-minded reasons. We have a major league team. I enjoy it a lot more to when I go to games when it's that atmosphere. Here's one thing I want to ask people, and I want to direct them to the Sissy's Log Cabin text line at 901-360-8255. And I'm going to declare before the first person weighs in, and I want y'all to weigh in, and I want people to weigh in that. Are we still team front office? I am.
Yeah.
I still think we have a really, really good handle on things from the front office. They have a lot of capital has been, well, I don't know if it's been wasted, but it's been used.
Sure.
I mean, they've used up a lot of goodwill, but I think they still have a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think they're really sharp, and I want them to. I mean, this, right here before the draft's a heck of a time to get a little scared of them, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So I want people to let us know, are they still
definitely
pro front office, pro Zach Kleiman, pro the people in charge?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, because I think
you?
I am. I definitely think I am.
I am too. Uh-huh. But I will say, if kind of the peak pro whiz kids a few years ago was 10 out of 10.
Sure.
That's been eroded. I don't know what it's been eroded, but it's been chipped into.
Sure.
That happens.
Sure.
That happens. And a lot of their moves, I can defend that, look, they just didn't happen, had some bad luck, things happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, nobody bats 1,000, and I don't know how many of their misses I really think were super bad misses. And so I'm still with this front office, and you look at what they've done.
I think Zaire was.
I don't think it was a bad pick. I think injuries and stuff has hampered him, and I don't think he's necessarily been completely right his entire career. But sure, that could be it. But outside of that, I mean, I don't see a ton of misses, but that's certainly
but nothing
the one that
fireable, nothing
no.
to come on here and just crush them, is it?
No, not at all, not at all. And then I mean, you look at
which the contrast to here with no titles and really no real advancement in the playoffs versus what John Mozeliak is going through right now in St. Louis.
Well, that's a really good point.
I mean, he's got real pelts on the wall.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's had 2 World Series. Well, he really wasn't in charge of the team in 2006. But 2011 he was. Sure. He's had a parade.
It's a great point. That's a great point. So definitely 2 different things there.
And his erosion is at 0.
Yeah.
You tap into St. Louis Sports Talk. Our friend Matt Pauley on these post-game shows, my goodness. You talking about catching flaming chainsaws.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I've tried to stay away from the pre- and post-game shows as much as I can.
Tom Ackerman, who is just as professional as it gets and is honest but pro the team as you can about be, yesterday on Sports on a Sunday morning, he opened it up just for a little while, and it was just blah the whole time.
Oh, no.
So we're not there with Team Klein, and shouldn't be.
No, I don't.
But
think.
Next year's big.
Sure, and I think they've definitely had some big hits. I mean, you look at what you seem to have with Gigi Jackson last year, getting him in the second round and having him play out like he has, and Vince Williams, a guy that you were able to get on a two-way and has played a big role last year and looks like he'll be a big role. So I do think people should still be in on this front office, and we'll see. This will be a big draft that a lot of people have their eyes on. Well, let me say
this will be a good thing to revisit a year from now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, mark this. What date? May 13th, and we'll come back to it a year from now.
Day after lottery day next year. Let's see if our old brains can remember.
I love that. Well, let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. Such a busy show planned for today. 3:30, Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio, CBS Sports. He'll join us, talk some golf. The PGA Championship is this weekend at Valhalla. So, plenty to get to. Coming off Rory McIlroy win this past weekend, so he's certainly feeling it going into the PGA Championship. So a lot to get to in this next segment with Doug. 3:45, we'll talk more about the Grizzlies and what happened in the lottery yesterday. I know a lot of people disappointed as team had a 31.9% chance of jumping in the top four. Not only do they not jump into the top four, but they fall 2 spots to number 9. So we'll talk a lot about that at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us. Plenty of college football and college basketball to get to after a busy weekend. We've got the draft lottery that I know, even though he doesn't really cover the NBA, he still has to pay attention to the draft lottery because a lot of these guys, draft combine, because a lot of these guys in the combine are still in the transfer portal, still have that eligibility remaining for college. So we'll talk a ton of college basketball, a ton of college football with David. 4:30, we'll get into the NBA playoffs. Plenty of action over the weekend with the NBA playoffs. Nuggets and Timberwolves. We've got ourselves a series again after what happened this weekend where the Nuggets played much
We're about
better.
to get weird tonight if everything goes 2-2. Deuces wild in all 4 series.
We sure will. It's going to be very interesting. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole. He'll join us, the Commercial Appeal beat writer for the Grizzlies. Plenty of Grizz talk with him about what happened with the lottery yesterday. We also have more news about the staff. It sounds like some staff changes coming for Taylor Jenkins. We'll also get to some NBA playoff talk with him at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Make sure you head out to Family Leisure right now as the weather, it's getting much, much better, and they have plenty of deals on all of their spring products. Make sure you get over there, get in line for your pool installation as they've got plenty of deals, a lot of prices off on all of those deals, so make sure you head out to Family Leisure and get out there while this weather is still nice. 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian, I'm Brett, and we have our production assistant with us, Lee Odwin Seabury, and we are so glad to have Lee Odwin on our team. He's going to be with us and just so excited for the future of our show and for him. He will bring a really, really, really good perspective to us. And I told him last Friday, Brian, be ready for all the text over the weekend. I've already started bombarding him.
Heck yeah, I love
it. He was ready. We're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of our show. You can text us. You can call us at the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line, and all our guests will appear at 901-360-8255 at the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first, and second maintenance services. Give them a call at 901-334-9673, but stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the NBA draft lottery that took place yesterday afternoon. The Hawks, they win the lottery after having only a 3% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick.
Biggest win in Hawks history?
I mean, it kind of feels like it, but
does.
not really, though, because this draft is not what any of these drafts have been in the past. So I guess it's a win. It's a big win. But, man, we'll have to see what they do with it. So they've got the number 1 pick now, but there will be a lot of questions now for this offseason about what they do with their current roster. There have been a lot of rumors circulating that they could move DeJounte Murray and or Trae Young. I've seen a lot more Trae Young today since the end of that draft lottery, with even reports coming out that Victor Wembanyama says he's very intrigued with the idea of playing with Trae Young. So that will be a massive story to follow during this offseason. On the other side, the Grizzlies dropped 2 spots to number 9, and now we'll turn our attention to see what they do with that pick. They could trade it away, and if somebody wants to move up to that spot and they can get a good price back, or they'll pick somebody with that number 9 pick. I know a lot of people kind of had their idea of who they thought the Grizzlies could and should pick with number 7, but a lot of that changes now that they have the number 1 pick. I looked at 5 mock drafts that were released since the draft lottery was conducted, and here's who they have the Grizzlies taking. Both The Athletic and The Ringer have the Grizzlies taking Ron Holland, a 6'8", 18-year-old wing that played for the G League Ignite last season. ESPN has the Grizzlies selecting Stephon Castle, 6'6", 19-year-old guard who won a national championship at UConn last year as a freshman. CBS Sports, they have the Grizzlies selecting 7'2" center Donovan Clingan. Now, they're the only site that seems to have Donovan Clingan falling that far. A lot of people think he'll go much higher than that, but a guy that won back-to-back national champions at UConn. And then finally, Tankathon has the Grizzlies selecting Reed Shepherd, the highly anticipated freshman guard that really played well for Kentucky last year. So kind of all over the place, but it definitely feels like the Grizzlies, if they make that pick, forget they need a big, forget that. It sounds like they will probably go with best player available.
I was watching the Combine today. It's in Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we saw Reed Shepherd going through. Looked like he was going through the 3-cone shuttle.
How about that?
I mean, it was a lot of cones and a lot of shuttling.
Yeah.
There was no basketball involved.
No.
But and I just started laughing at the hubris, at the arrogance of Kentucky fans from January on. Oh, we can make a deal that can keep Reed Shepherd here.
Brett had a 42-inch vertical today at the Combine. Best of guards was 42 inches. I mean, unbelievable showing from him in the first day of the Combine.
He really did, and just the idea that we can make a
That's right.
For in-state youngster.
He wants to stay at Kentucky. He wants to bleed blue and be a lifer at Kentucky. Okay.
Let me tell you, after that first year of the NBA, that's one step closer.
That's right.
The first day's one step closer to that next contract.
Yep.
That Kentucky could have made an offer to match next year.
Sure.
But they couldn't in the out years.
Nah, not at all.
It was ridiculous. My top story, the final indignity for the Grizzlies. Powerball day finally got here, and the Grizzlies didn't have one number right. And nothing says Grizzlies like Tayshaun Prince representing the team. I know Elliot Perry couldn't do it this year for a lot of very valid reasons, but let's get Elliot back in there and his good luck. From the Jaw night in Denver last March till now, it's been a house of horrors with mirrors on the ceiling. When will the next round of Grizzlies good news really occur? It's been too long. We keep waiting and wanting, and we want to turn that corner and get the past really good behind us.
Yep.
And we can't really get clear of it.
No, doesn't feel like it.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's got to be the NBA Combine this week for only one reason, and maybe I could have saved this for what I learned today. But over the weekend, we had the G League Combine taking place, and as we know, those are guys that really probably, it's kind of a long shot that they'll be drafted, but certainly if they're out of eligibility for G League teams to get a look at them. But a lot of these guys still have eligibility remaining at the college level, and so it's just an opportunity for them to get in front of scouts and maybe hear back from them and what they should improve on. But we did have a couple of guys that were out of eligibility participating at the G League Combine, and two of these guys have Memphis ties. Naquan Tomlin participated in the event after playing a season at Memphis. Also, Boogie Ellis, who started his season at the University of Memphis before transferring out to USC. Both those guys participated in the G League Combine, and both of them got the invite to the actual NBA Combine taking place this week in Chicago. I believe them two and either 2 or 3 more players all got invites to the actual NBA Combine, so they showed out. They did enough over the weekend to get that call to stay in Chicago. I don't believe they do testing again today since they did it for the G League. I think they'll just be out there when we actually get to games and getting up shots and stuff like that. But good for them. Obviously good for Naquan Tomlin, who played with the Tigers this year. And we all know David Jones at the Combine right now. He got his measurements today, and we'll see what he does over this next week. And then a decision will be coming. Ask me tomorrow, Brett. You know, and then whatever I tell you tomorrow, ask me the next day, and then again the next day. I really don't know.
We're pulling for him.
Yes, but also not at the same time.
Yeah. My not top story, as I said earlier, let's get weird tonight and have all 4 series go to 2-2. 2 are now essentially 2 out of 3 series. Denver dominated in Minneapolis like the Timberwolves dominated in Denver, and Smallville, Indiana got its shots in right to the face of big bad Gotham, didn't they?
Sure did.
And that big old area west of the Hudson but east of Hollywood got to really show out in Indianapolis, and it was fun to watch all weekend long.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night tonight. Some crazy games over the weekend, and we'll see what happens tonight. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. When we return, we're talking some golf with Doug Bell.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Includes all rebates and incentives. Price excludes 695 PF. Lease includes PF 695. 650 acquisition fee. EV6 P5610964. MSRP 50,200. Telluride RG 510 849. MSRP 38305. Forte LXS RE 78169. MSRP 21820. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
I got Jeff Allen on the line to hear about some crazy deals happening at Gossett Kia southbound Moriah.
Randy, I'd love to give all our customers our best deal. 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG highway, $199 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 282 miles EPA estimated range will get you where you want to go in the 2023 Kia EV6 Win, $249 a month, plus a 2024 Telluride LX, $357 a month. Both $39.99 due at signing and 24-month lease.
And 0% for 48 months on 2024 EV9 and peace of mind with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, we'll make you happy at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still struggling over here at times in the construction zone. Pretty good delay has developed over here from our earlier truck problem on 55 North there at Crump, trying to make that turn. That's why it's been slow up by McLemore South Parkway on 55 northbound. Heavy traffic already over here on 240 East up by Poplar. It's looking good right now down through South Haven on 55 going southbound. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios, and joining us now to talk the PGA Championship this weekend at Valhalla, Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio. and CBS Sports. He joins us now. Doug, thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, a big weekend in the golf world. What are you most looking forward to? What is kind of the storylines that you're looking forward to this weekend for the PGA Championship?
Oh, my goodness, there's so many. And guys, I'm driving to Louisville, and I'm driving through some rain. So if if it sounds a little helter-skelter, it's because the rain's coming down hard. And that's the storyline, because rain is expected maybe every day up in Louisville.
Wow.
So I think we're going to have a wet golf course. It's a big golf course. It's 7,600 yards. But the big story, guys, is Scotty Scheffler's back. Number one player in the world, having won his last 2 starts, 4 of the last 5. And Rory McIlroy, world number 2, is there, having won his last 2 starts. Tiger's there. Brooks Koepka is there. John Rahm is there. In fact, guys, the top 100 players in the official World Golf Rankings, it's 100 out of 100 that are all there. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. And this is the jolt, the shot in the arm that professional golf needed with all that's going on. Scheffler, big story. Rory's come around, and now everybody is on center stage in Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be fantastic.
This is the best field in all of golf. All the majors, even the Players' Championship, anything Liv has to offer, Open Championship. This is 100 out of 100. Speaks for itself, doesn't it, Doug?
Oh, it does, Brett. And the folks in Kentucky. Listen, I was born and raised in Kentucky, and so I'm a big basketball guy. But I will say this: they love their basketball, they love their golf, and whenever Valhalla now for the 4th time, it's hosted a PGA Championship and a Ryder Cup. They're expected to set all sorts of attendance records this weekend. Brett, this is fantastic. Oh, I forgot the storylines. A guy named Tiger is also playing.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to talk about.
And Tiger Woods won there in 2000. The winners at Valhalla, Mark Brooks, Tiger Woods, and Rory McIlroy, but they all won when it was Glory's last shot. It was in August. With this weather, with everything, with the May event, how differently or harder, easier do you think the golf course will play as a May event as opposed to a hot August event?
Well, Brett, great question. Going in before the weather forecast, it was going to be firm and fast, kind of like we saw this past weekend at Quail Hollow, where the balls were bounding out and it was going to be tough to get it close to the hole, et cetera. But now with the rain, I think the course is going to play soft, which, again, it's a big guys golf course, a big bombers golf course, 7,600 yards, but with wet conditions, the long guys will have an even bigger advantage. And listen, Bryson DeChambeau, longest hitter in the world. We don't talk about him much, but this is his kind of setup. Brooks Koepka gets it out there. John Rahm gets it out there. Obviously, Scotty Scheffler gets it out as long as he wants to be. He's a tactician, but a big, powerful guy. And we saw what Rory did at Quail Hollow, guys. I mean, what he did, 9 under on the par 5s, and up until the double bogey, he was 8 under on the par 4s. And he was hitting it consistently by Xander Schauffele on the weekend by 35, 40 yards. It was a power display. So I think if you're going to pick a winner or at least try to narrow it down, I think you need to go with the guys who get it out there, those guys who are well past, let's say, 305 to 310 yards off the tee. Because this golf course, you're going to use your driver a lot off the tee. And I tell you, when Rory shows up at a course where he can pull out the driver a whole bunch, I mean, he's licking his chops.
Yeah. Well, one young golfer that's kind of taken the golf world over right now, Ludwig Oberg, he's played really, really well, and kind of a story that out of Texas Tech, I was seeing all these stories about look out for this guy. He's going to be in PGA soon. He's going to take it over, and he's done just that. His first major, the Masters, a couple weeks ago, he looked really good, really comfortable for how young and inexperienced at these major events he is. What have you made of his game so far since he started on the PGA Tour, and what do you expect from him this weekend?
Wow, he's a talent, guys. 1 year ago at this time, Ludwig Oberg was getting ready for the Big 12 championship. I mean, can Can you think about how quickly his career has come around? And so now he took last week off. He tweaked his knee, and he wanted to be ready for this championship. And again, I mentioned all those long hitters. He falls in that category. Listen, I work a lot with guys who played or caddied on the tour for decades, guys, and they don't throw out hyperbole. I mean, they've seen it all. And, when a guy wins, they don't necessarily jump on the bandwagon. He's the next great thing. But almost to a man, they will tell me, this kid, Ludwig Oberg, they think he will. Now, Rory has won 2 times in a row, but they're telling me he'll be the number 2 ranked player in the world by the end of 2024. And they're not so sure that he won't be number 1 in the next 3 to 5 years.
Oh.
They think that much of Ludwig Oberg. Yeah, I mean, that's not hyperbole. These are guys who, they watch his demeanor. And I compare him. Listen, I love Nick Dunlap, the kid from Alabama who turned pro. They're the same age. And Nick is experiencing growing pains like any normal 21-year-old would. But Oberg is different. He's just kind of a different breed in himself. And it wouldn't shock me to see him win this week. We're talking about everybody else, and Oberg is just kind of right there. So we'll see what happens. But to answer your question, he is an immense talent, and there's a lot of good ones, but he's a notch above the rest.
Doug Bell with us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, making his way up Highway 65 from his home in Birmingham to Louisville for the PGA Championship, the 106th PGA Championship being played at Valhalla this week. And the weather looks very imposing all week. But, Doug, right now on tour, this is Scotty Scheffler's tour for right now. I don't know why we have to do it. Dang Talk Radio is the biggest blame for it. But we got to compare Anthony Edwards to LeBron James or to Michael Jordan. We have to compare Scotty Scheffler to Tiger Woods. Why do we have to do that? Why can't we just stop it? Scotty Scheffler is in a run right now that was similar to Johnny Miller's mid-'70s run.
Yes, a great call there. And, it's funny, people compare him. Now, listen, his run he's on right now, winning 4 out of 5. Yeah, it's Tiger-esque. And his statistics, Brett, when you look at his numbers analytically from tee to green, and they started doing that back when Tiger was getting hot in, 2000. And his statistics, nobody's ever come close to Tiger over that 10-year run except for Scotty Scheffler. So statistically, the gap between number 1 and number 2 is as wide as it was when Tiger was number 1, and whoever was number 2, several guys, took over that number 2 slot. But yeah, that's comparable, but it's unfair to compare anything else. Listen, Tiger has 15 majors, 82 victories, and nobody dominated the game. Nobody, not even the great Jack Nicklaus like Tiger did. And he set records that are just head-scratching records. It's unfair to compare him, but let's appreciate what he's doing, because to think that he's widened the gap between him and Rory, and you don't want to get into numbers, it's hard to kind of decipher the world golf rankings, but it is a massive margin, and it's impossible to overcome. Even if Scotty didn't play the rest of the year and Rory won 2 or 3 more times, he still wouldn't be number 1 in the world. So let's appreciate that. But, to compare him to Tiger is absolutely crazy. But I will say this, in fairness, and listen, and Brett, you may agree or disagree. The LIV guys are no longer there. Rahm, Koepka, DeChambeau. So Scotty has taken advantage, in my opinion, of the fact that many of these great players have moved on to the other league. And listen, that's just being honest, right? But I think the bottom line is he's playing great. It is an incredible run, and I'll be curious to see how he does now after being off for 3.5 weeks.
You mentioned your upbringing in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and we know it loves its basketball. We know it loves its horse racing, and you were making the case about how much it loves golf, and we've seen it. I thought the pep rally on Thursday night in 2008 in downtown Louisville around the Ryder Cup, I thought it propelled the United States to victory that year at it. I mean, everybody just bathed in red, white, and blue, pulling real hard for the U.S. team. So those three, it's interesting in this football crazed world we're in. Is football fourth in the state of Kentucky?
I think so, Brett. Yeah. The state of Kentucky still celebrates those 7 and 8 win seasons, right? It's well behind all that other stuff. And let me tell you this was interesting, guys. And I want to try to get there before they sell out in the gift shop there, the merchandise tent, which is massive at the PGA Championship. They only made 106 of them, but they're head covers in the shape of boxing gloves and they have the signature of Muhammad Ali on there.
That's awesome.
I mean, guys, think about that. And they were so intricate to make that they only made 106, and the merchandise tent opened today. I'm hoping I get there tomorrow, and they still have some of these boxing glove head covers with the Ali signature still available. And if you want one, let me know.
that is great. Is Muhammad Ali? Is it easily? He's the number one sports person ever from Kentucky, and the airport's named after him. That's not far from Valhalla.
Well, yes, I would say to answer that question, I'd say yes. Although I think there's some Kentucky basketball stars who are right up there as well. And even some great Louisville. I mean, listen, Denny Crum is not Muhammad Ali, but he walks on water.
Daryl Griffith was close.
Yeah.
Daryl Griffith, Wes Unseld, who, by the way, Adolph Rupp, the great Adolph Rupp, that's the guy he wanted to sign to become the first African-American player for him at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And Wes Unseld said, nope, I want to play for my hometown of Louisville. So, I mean, the basketball tradition is incredible in the state of Kentucky. And I saw, by the way, Russ Cochran, who played at the University of Kentucky.
Paducah, Kentucky native.
Yes, he played at Zurich, the Zurich Classic, his 500 start of the PGA Tour a couple weeks ago with Eric Cole. And I will tell you, there's no bigger basketball fan than Russ Cochran. At the same time, he'll also tell you, man, underrated is the state of Kentucky when it comes to golf. And they love watching it. And I'm telling you guys, when you flip on the TV this week, it is going to be crazy. Now, I hope Mother Nature cooperates, but with the crowd, the top 100 there, Tiger, I think, is in better shape than he was for the Masters. Scotty, Rory, Rahm, Koepka. Oh, and we need to mention Justin Thomas, who is from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something if he came through with a big week?
Yeah. Well, it should be a lot of fun, like you said. Hopefully, fingers crossed, weather is not terrible this weekend for this event. But, Doug, thank you so much for joining us. Safe travels the rest of your way up there to Kentucky. And let's do this again soon.
Yeah, talk to you next month when we go to Pinehurst.
That's right.
You got it, Doug. Thanks,
Doug.
man. Be safe.
All right, fellas. Bye-bye.
Doug Bell joining us from PGA Tour Radio and CBS Sports to talk about the upcoming PGA Championship this weekend. And hopefully weather isn't an issue, but it sounds like a lot of rain in the forecast this weekend. But it should be a lot of fun. Well, let's go ahead and get to a quick break. When we come back, we talked a lot earlier in the first segment about what happened yesterday with the NBA Draft Lottery. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about everything that happened in the Grizzlies, now set to pick number 9 in the upcoming draft. We'll talk about that and more on the other side. You're listening to Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
If the woman of your dreams has been searching online for the perfect engagement ring, she's figured out there's a few brand names that are worthy of consideration. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and she doesn't want a plain, ordinary cookie-cutter ring to wear the rest of her life. She wants a world-class designer ring, handcrafted by a true artisan that will hold value and stand the test of time. She's found Tacori, Verragio, Ajafi, Simon G., among other premium American-made designers. But when you try and find these exclusive rings, you quickly realize most stores don't offer them. them. They have knockoffs and lookalikes, kind of like those imitation bags and watches on the streets of New York City. But there is one jeweler where you can find the real deal, Genesis Diamonds. Genesis has been chosen by all the most sought-after designers. Genesis is your exclusive home for these iconic brand names that define excellence. Other stores can only dream of being able to offer these, but only Genesis has them. So be careful. Don't settle for anything less than the ring she is worthy of wearing. Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Yo, Mark, long time no see. You still down at Dyer's?
Man, I'm not down at Dyer's. I'm out at Collierville Historic Town Square.
When'd you move out there?
We've been out there for about 13 years. We've got the shops, the park. We got the train the kids like to play on.
You still cooking those burgers the old-fashioned way?
Man, we're still flattening out those hamburger balls on a slab of marble and skillet frying them the old-fashioned way like they've been doing for 100 years.
Dude, you still have those onion rings.
Man, they're fantastic. Hand-breaded, served up just right.
I loved those milkshakes. Please tell me you're still doing those.
Man, we are hand dipping those shakes, putting them in the old glass in the shake tin, served the old-fashioned way.
You got any new items out there I need to know about?
We're just doing a lot of gourmet sandwiches. We've got farm-raised catfish straight out of the Delta. We've got some hot tamales from Pasquale's Tamales out of Helena, Arkansas.
Man, are they served in the husk?
What those guys like to say, they're so good, you'll suck the shuck.
Go see my buddy Mark at Dyer's Cafe in Collierville's historic town square.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I've got Jason, the main man marshal, here, and he's ready to start something big at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. What's up, Jace?
Randy, I've got 42 MPG on the highway on the all-new 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE for only $249 a month. Or take your pick from the 2024 Tiguan S front-wheel drive or 2024 Taos SE. We Gossett at $279.28 a month.
That's a 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE, $249 a month. Or take your pick from 2024 Tiguan S or 2024 Taos SE, $279.28 a month.
And Randy, you know the deal. Make me an offer because no reasonable offer will be refused.
Ask for Jason, the main man marshal at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
All 36 month lease, 7,500 miles per year. Taos RMO 51756, MSRP 26063. Tiguan RM 103,910, MSRP 31363. Jetta RMO 48802, MSRP 25506. Cross Sport RC 236449, MSRP 38981. Includes $3,000 rebate. Cannot be combined with special APR. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax final license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, we talked a lot earlier about the NBA draft lottery yesterday afternoon. It feels like we're so used to it on a weekday night, but now out of nowhere this year they said, "Hey,
almost snuck up on me yesterday."
It sure did.
Twitter saved me.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. Like all morning, I was like, all right, is it at 2 o'clock? Is it at 1 o'clock? Is it at 3 o'clock? And so finally I figured it out and was able to
DeMichael Cole that would join us in a little over an hour. He saved me. I think his tweet was like, get some good lucky vibes going.
Sure,
here we go.
Yeah. The draft lottery's going on.
I was outside, and I had to get inside. And,
well, and then you probably should have stayed outside.
Splat.
That was rough. And, it really...
We've had some cruel lottery nights.
Well, I was just about to say, it really wraps up what has just been such a bad luck season. With all of the injuries and everything from start to finish, you thought maybe...
turnover.
Oh, yeah. You thought maybe this would be the moment where, okay, we're getting to the offseason.
We're going
Here comes
to.
Some good
We're
luck.
going to get in a good Grizzlies vibe.
For sure.
And, the one we really need to get into it, starting about the 20th of October.
That's right. Yes.
On the floor with some wins.
Yes, when the season's starting, that's really when things you hope will turn around. But I mentioned it earlier, 31.9% chance to move up inside the top 4. Instead of doing that, they don't drop one, which kind of reading around town, a bunch of people writing about the draft lottery, talking to DeMichael and listening to some other guests on these stations. It felt like a lot of people were like, well, this could be, worst case scenario is they get like 8th and this happens and that happens. I don't think anybody was like, oh, worst thing that happens is they get 9th. I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen. But here we are.
Here we are, and just have to deal with it. Now, fortunate that we're not one of those teams like Detroit.
Sure.
That's pretty hopeless.
Yes, and that's kind of what we've
We're
been
not
talking
hopeless.
about.
We just need to a change of luck.
Exactly, and that's kind of what we've been talking about throughout the whole kind of NBA playoffs and stuff is, this isn't a team that's just really bad. This is a team that injuries really did them in this year.
Really unfortunate.
And next year, you pretty much think if everyone gets back healthy, this team's going to be good. You're really just looking for a couple more pieces to add. So we'll see. Definitely still some time before the draft is here. But we'll definitely be talking more about this. Like Brett said, in about an hour with DeMichael Cole. He'll join us from the Commercial Appeal. We'll talk about the draft lottery. We'll talk about who he thinks now is in play for the Grizzlies. We'll talk more NBA with him. But let's get to a break now, wrap up this hour, and when we come back, we're talking college football and college basketball because David Cobb from CBS Sports, he joins us next.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GEAR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GEAR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GEAR.
There are many real estate companies out there, but then there's Banyan Tree Realtors on the Collierville Town Square. There are hands-on, family-owned boutique real estate companies whose agents have been offering exceptional attention to their clients for over 40 years. In an ever-changing world, Banyan Tree continues to maintain a small-town personal charm while providing a worldwide connection through its internet marketing presence. Personal service will never go out of style at Banyan Tree Realtors. Their agents are people you can trust, offering service you deserve. From residential homes to commercial properties, farmland, land lots, and historical houses, Banyan Tree has the expertise you can rely on. So if you're downsizing, upsizing, moving in, or moving on, give Banyan Tree Realtors a call today. Craig Smith and Mary Jean Smith and their agents are ready to serve you. Call today at 901-620-8920 or 901-359-2520.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
I've got Rockin' Ronnie Smith on the line at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. And Ronnie, it's the season for the Memorial Day sales event.
It's time to rock, Randy, in your new 2023 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive. $25,889 or $389 a month. That's $5,206 off MSRP. How about a 2024 Dodge Hornet GT all-wheel drive, packing up to 268 horsepower, plus 295 pound-feet of torque, 32,320, plus power up in our 2023 Dodge Charger SXT 4-door, $28,072. That's over $9,000 off MSRP.
So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike, or online anytime, GossettMotorcars.net.
All 75 months at 8.99 APR, 3,500 down, Renegade Triple P 56,520, MSRP 31,095, Charger PH 636,171, MSRP 37,120, Hornet R3A 152,64, MSRP 34,820. Price includes all rebates and incentives and excludes PF 695. Payments includes PF 695. All exclude tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
Welcome back into Sports Time. David Cobb, he joins us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. David Cobb, obviously from CBS Sports, covering college football and college basketball. In the last couple of weeks, we spent a lot of time talking college basketball at the transfer portal in the offseason. We'll still talk college basketball today, but I do want to start with college football because Friday we talked about it before we got off, but Memphis, maybe it was Thursday, one day late last week, Memphis picked up a massive addition from the transfer portal when they picked up a commitment from Tennessee linebacker Elijah Herring, who led the team last year in tackles. David, your alma mater, Tennessee, Memphis, picking up their leading tackler. What should Tiger fans know about him, and how big of an addition is this for Ryan Silverfield and his staff?
Hey, he's pulling the Joe Doyle, or as I like to call it, the reverse Antonio Barton.
There you go. I like that.
If you want to get deep into the Tennessee to Memphis pipeline there.
Riley Ferguson.
The Riley Ferguson. That he's pulling the Riley Ferguson, going from Tennessee to Memphis. It's funny. This would actually be a good off-season piece of content for the CA or something. Like the transfers from Memphis to Tennessee and Tennessee to Memphis. There's been a handful over the years in various sports that have actually been significant players who, in basketball in particular, you think about a couple of guys like Scooter McFadden, Antonio Barton, Joe Doyle, Riley Ferguson. Elijah Herring, man, he's right there with him. He's going to be an impact player for Memphis because, if you're an impact linebacker in the SEC, then absolutely you've got the potential to be an all AAC type of player. And I think it's a good pickup for that Memphis defense because, we all know the Memphis offense is going to bring back a ton of production and be really, really good next season. But as per usual, kind of with Memphis football, you do always have some questions about the defense. So getting a guy like Elijah Herring who's done it at a high level, man, that's a big-time pickup for Silverfield.
But, David, we've watched the Tigers in that league, and we've all watched those games and thought, gosh, if they could just hold teams to 35,
Yep.
you know, look how good they would be. And we've watched teams in the SEC like that. Ole Miss has had that kind of same feeling about them a lot of times. Now it looks like they may be able to do that. You know, Seth Hennigan and that offense will be able to consistently move the ball. And we talked about this at the end of last week, and will consistently right up to for the run-up of college football. David, there's no more unity and solidarity with, all for one for all kinship with, and not my words, but what some say, for the little guy out there. Now you're going to see, starting opening weekend, Tiger fans need to be pulling against Boise State. Tiger fans need to be pulling against Fresno State in that big game at the Big House at Michigan. You don't want any of those guys breaking through as the darling of the media and getting a lot of votes and attention.
That's right. You need Liberty to lose.
Right.
And that was one thing that stuck out to me. So I did these Group of 5 power rankings at the end of last week. And
made a lot of friends with it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, one thing that stuck out to me was how much more challenging of a schedule Boise State and Memphis play than Liberty plays. Liberty doesn't play a single power conference opponent for the second consecutive season. And we saw what happened once they finally got to the Fiesta Bowl last year. Yeah, they were undefeated, but they hadn't played anybody. And all of a sudden they were across the field from Oregon, and it was not pretty. So, yeah, if you're Memphis, if you're Boise State, you want Liberty to lose some games because you want to be in the driver's seat for that automatic bid to the college football playoff. And Memphis and Boise State, they're probably going to pick up some losses. SMU was right there last season, one spot behind Liberty, and they lost twice. You got to think with the type of schedule that Boise State, Memphis, and Tulane and some of these other teams play, they're probably going to have a couple losses. And so the way that the committee evaluates strength of schedule with the G5 teams is going to be really, really important when it comes down to figuring out who gets that bid.
And, David, I'm sure none of them even remember that they said it when you're comparing what Boise State and particularly Memphis, the schedule they play, opposed to this pure D slop that Liberty plays. No, just because we beat everybody on our schedule, no, that's when you stop and use your head and go, yeah, but your schedule is slop.
Yep. It's a principle that we see applied often by the selection committee in college basketball, but that we didn't see applied when it came to Liberty last year, which is strength of schedule matters and the quality of your opposition matters. And Boise State goes to Oregon, Memphis goes to Florida State. So, and then not to mention their conferences are much tougher than Conference USA is for Liberty. So, I'm of the opinion, I think SMU proved this last year. I know SMU is now in the ACC, but they were a 2-loss AAC team, and I think they were more deserving of that representation in the New Year's Six than Liberty was. Yeah. And it's hard to knock the undefeated team, and I get that, but you got to play somebody. And Liberty used to. When Hugh Freeze was there, they played Mississippi State. They played
Ole Miss.
They were independent, so I guess they had to get games, but. Now that they're in Conference USA, it's like they've backed off entirely from trying to play anybody.
Hugh Freeze won at Fayetteville, beat Sam Pittman.
Yeah. Hugh Freeze, when he was at Liberty, they beat 3 or 4. I think they also beat Virginia Tech, Syracuse. So they
Troy was better than Liberty last year, David.
Yeah, I think so. And now that Troy coach is at Tulane, so I'm excited about this year's Group of 5 football. I'll tell you guys, I've spent a lot of time in the Group of 5 rabbit hole. For football over the last week or so, because for the first time ever, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys this time next week, we are doing a full, comprehensive Group of 5 coaches ranking.
All right. Heck yeah.
Yeah, and so not only did I have to submit a ballot, but I'm the author on it. And so I had to have something to write about every single Group of 5 football coach in the country. And so I spent a lot of time the last week kind of in that rabbit hole, reading up on and looking into, the Conference USA, Sun Belt, MAC, AAC, and of course, Mountain West, in terms of kind of what their seasons are going to look like and who their coaches are and what they've accomplished. So anyway, that's going to be a fun little thing that's going to drop on our website here in a couple days.
Well, I love that, and I'm glad to hear that you've done so much research about these Group of 5 schools, because in a couple of months, when the new college football video game comes out, I'll be calling you to figure out who I should start my rebuild with, and I'm sure you can tell me all about their rosters and coaching staff, so that will be a lot of fun. I'm curious, David, it feels like the first transfer cycle for college football, Ohio State was the big name. Everybody was talking about the guys that they were picking up and who they were bringing in and how they were going to really be a force to be reckoned with this upcoming season. Now it feels like that team is Oregon. Oregon's been doing a lot of good things this transfer portal, bringing in a lot of talented guys. What do you expect this upcoming season for Dan Lanning and his team, and how much can they compete with the likes of Ohio State and Georgia come the college football playoff?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon's they're not even a dark horse anymore. They're
right.
They're a bright horse. But here, a couple of things to note on Oregon here, which is, first of all, they're going to the Big Ten. So life's going to be a little bit more difficult. I know the Pac-12 was really good last year in its last season, but the Big Ten it's different. It's tougher. They're also losing Bo Nix, who was a first-round draft pick at quarterback, and somebody who had a lot of familiarity, with Dan Lanning. And I think a lot of comfort in that system. And they're bringing in Dylan Gabriel, who should, theoretically fit in, quite nicely there. So I love what Dan Lanning is doing up there. I think he's got Oregon in position to make the playoff. But I say that, and that doesn't mean as much as it used to. Making a 12-team playoff is a lot different than making a 4-team playoff. And I think a lot of people around the country right now will be putting Oregon in a 4-team playoff. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that that's impossible. They're talented. What he's done has been really impressive. But, when you really get down to it, Kalen DeBoer in Washington had more success than Dan Lanning did early on in their tenures. And so, I don't know, I just got to see that championship level pop from Dan Lanning and from Oregon before I'm all the way bought in. And when you lose a first-round pick at quarterback and you go to what is arguably the toughest conference in the country, right there with the SEC. To me, there's just some big picture questions there before I'm ready to anoint Oregon as this surefire national title contender.
David, we got into it Friday afternoon about this summer is going to be so much fun. Not just the different names and who could be in the playoffs, but just the number of representation. Like out of the 12, how many are going to be Big Ten? We all think Oregon. We all think Ohio State, defending national champion. Michigan's going to have a word. We think plenty from the SEC. How many from the ACC? How many from the Big 12? And then who's going to be the non-Power 5 team? And I like your rankings because, as I said about fan interest, every week we're going to have so many different subsets of things that will really factor in to that Saturday of those campus hosted games.
I love that. That gets me excited about this college football season because I think it makes the regular season just as meaningful, if not more meaningful. Yes, because so many more games will carry significant stakes. And you might say, well, what if Georgia's undefeated or Ohio State's undefeated? Then their games don't really matter. Yeah, they do, because if you finish in the top 4, you want to buy. That's a huge advantage. We're going to look back.
Those coaching staffs will love it because they can go recruit saying, hey, we're already in the playoffs.
Exactly. I don't know how many years we're going to get of this 12-team version of the playoff. It may not be that many. But let's say we get 5 or 6 years where this is the format. We're going to look back at whatever that time length is and say, wow, all but one or maybe 80 or 90% of the national champions were teams that had that first-round bye. And so I think that really incentivizes the top teams in the country to compete for that bye. Mm-hmm. And then I think there's that next tier of competing to get a home game. If you're not going to get a bye, you want to be 5, 6, 7, or 8 so you can play your first game at home. And then, of course, we got the fight for the last spot, the group of 5 intrigue. There's a lot of layers to what make a college football season interesting in this 12-team era, and I'm here for it. I'm all about it. I think the more fan bases you can bring to the title table and the conversation later into the season, I think that only helps the entire sport.
Yeah. Talking to David Cobb from CBS Sports. He covers college football and college basketball. I want to jump over to basketball because we talked about Tiger football picking up a big-time commitment from Tennessee. Tiger basketball gets another commitment, this time a familiar face, Musa Cisse, who spent last year at Ole Miss, committed back to Penny Hardaway after starting his career here a handful of years ago as a 5-star recruit. It's been a wild collegiate career for Musa. I mean, is a top 10 player in his class, a 5-star, comes to Memphis. It doesn't work out. He goes over to Oklahoma State for a couple of years. Then last year at Ole Miss, now back to Memphis. What do you expect his role to be in Penny Hardaway's system? Brett and I were talking last week after this commitment happened, kind of talking about it feels like if he can come in and really buy into his role that the coaching staff gives him, he'll be a great addition for this team. What do you expect that role to be, and what do you think about this fit of Musa Cisse rejoining the Tigers?
Yeah, I think at this point, every party involved should have a perfect understanding of who Musa Cisse is as a player and how he fits at Memphis. And I think coming out of the gate the first time, the expectations were too high because this was a 5-star prospect ranked number 12 in his class. And, this was at a time when Memphis was recruiting the likes of Precious Achiuwa, who we're seeing in the NBA playoffs right now, and James Wiseman. And, of course, then came Jalen Duren. Yeah. And in that lineage of big men, Musa Cisse is the closest thing maybe to a bust, okay? And, maybe that's an unfair label because he's turned out to be a really good defensive player, a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. I believe he was AAC All-Freshman, at Memphis, and maybe even Freshman of the Year, right? So, a decorated defensive player who will never, ever score you 15 points in a game. And you just have to know that going in and accept that. And that's where I think there's a nice differentiation between Musa Cisse and Dane Danger, because I think Dane Danger is a offensive-oriented, more efficient, skilled type of player, whereas Musa Cisse is a rim protector who probably can't make a shot from outside of 7 or 8 feet, and that's been proven out over 4 seasons now. So I think the fact that you know what you're getting makes this a better marriage the second time around, because we've got 4 years worth of data and evidence now to show us who Musa Cisse is. And that's a not very talented offensive player, but a really, really talented defensive player. And there's always room for a guy like that, on your team. And I think he checks that box and fills that gap for Memphis pretty well.
David Cobb, our guest with us every Monday. He's on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. David, I'm happy for him, but I just learned today the person that invented college basketball is a player named Great Osabor.
Right, yeah, $2 million. Did you guys see that price tag on?
Do you buy that? I mean, I don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's overpaying to me. Yeah. You will see in my transfer rankings, I have Great Osabor lower than just about anybody else who ranks transfers, and the reason for that is he's a 6'8" big man who doesn't shoot threes, who is not a great rim protector, and now he's going to the Big Ten, which has been the land of giants over the last 7 or 8 years. And obviously Zach Edey and Hunter Dickinson aren't in the league anymore, but I just have a hard time seeing a guy who was a role player in the Big Sky 2 years ago going in and dominating the Big Ten. But if you're paying him $2 million, my gosh,
better do something.
He better go and dominate for you. But Kentucky was in on him, Louisville was in on him. A lot of the big boys were in on him, and now he's going to play for Danny Sprinkle again. So this will be his third different school playing for the same coach, which is kind of a sort of a wild little transfer portal type of story that we would have never had in years past.
Maybe it's the loyalty that got him the $2 million. Because certainly he is definitely
No, I think
loyal.
It's the $2 million that got him the loyalty.
Well, maybe. That's also a good point. One definitely happens with the other.
And I don't blame him. Good for him.
Absolutely. Some other big news over the weekend. Everybody who knows me knows I love WCC basketball. They also know that I love Grand Canyon and Seattle. Grand Canyon, Seattle, both going to the WCC. Two programs that have been good basketball programs. Grand Canyon, more notably, with what they've done in recent years. What do you make of the addition of these two schools to the WCC with Gonzaga, St. Mary's, all those other programs? And we'll have both Washington State and Oregon State playing in that conference until they kind of figure out what they're going to do with football. What do you make of the WCC now that we'll have, I guess for the next couple of years, 11 teams, the most this conference has ever had?
Yeah, and a few that are actually pretty decent, too.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington State was an NCAA tournament team. Grand Canyon's been an NCAA tournament team under Bryce Drew. How about this? I'm going to call my shot now. We'll see. You never know. But how about Bryce Drew, who is currently the Grand Canyon coach? How about Bryce Drew for the eventual successor to Mark Few at Gonzaga? I can see it because Bryce Drew, he had his day at the high major at Vanderbilt, and he got fired after a year in which he didn't win a single SEC game. And now it's like, is he ever going to get a chance at the high major level again? Well, Gonzaga sort of straddles that fence now, where if like Bryce Drew can go in and have some success in the WCC with Grand Canyon, then maybe when Mark Few hangs it up in a few years, maybe Bryce Drew could step in there at Gonzaga. I'm just saying that would actually make a lot of sense to me.
I like that prediction, David. In his past, both playing in college at Valparaiso for his dad, he was at a place that football's not a behemoth. Then at Vanderbilt, he was at a place that football's not a behemoth, and at Grand Canyon, and now and if he eventually ended up at Gonzaga, I can see that. The SEC announced opponents for 24-25, and I hope it has some games in calendar year 2024. I hope we get more than just a couple around the end of the year, like the 29th of December on. I even want some November, early December conference games in the SEC. They're staying at 18. A lot of takeaways. One, Arkansas and John Calipari will travel to Rupp Arena to play Kentucky. Kentucky will not go to Fayetteville. They did play home and home this year. And Chris Beard, that turned down Arkansas and Ole Miss, they will go to Bud Walton Arena and play Arkansas. A lot to pick from the opponents released today.
Yeah, absolutely. Immediately when I saw that, I jumped to Arkansas and said, please give me
First
Coach
thing
Cal
I did.
in Rupp. And thank goodness we got Coach Cal in Rupp. A little disappointed that we don't get the Kentucky trip to Arkansas, but if I had to pick one or the other, I would pick Cal at Rupp in a heartbeat. And then my next one was like, oh, man, are we going to get Chris Beard in Austin? And not this time. Texas comes to Ole Miss, like you mentioned, stats. But we do get Rick Barnes back at Texas. That's one we've seen before, but always interesting there because he and Rodney Terry, they just played in the NCAA tournament a couple months ago. So, yeah, this is a fun one. It's kind of a downer to see some of the you used to always look forward to Tennessee and Kentucky playing twice every year, and they're going to play twice this next season. But Tennessee and Vanderbilt always used to play twice, and now they're only playing once. And so you lose a little bit, but you gain a lot with some of these matchups. So yeah, man, I'm super fired up to see sort of the renewal of rivalries over this next year in both basketball and football, and it's gonna be a blast, especially when we get stuff like that Chris Beard return to Austin whenever that eventually comes. Man, those are the types of stories that they write themselves. They're fantastic. So yeah, it's fun to look through this schedule.
And with these expanded conferences, we're going to lose something, and we kind of got used to it in football. David, I know you know this with your Tennessee Volunteer connection. That at one time the big September game was Auburn and Tennessee. It was right up there with third Saturday in October. For a September game, Tennessee and Auburn really launched the football playing conference year in the SEC. Well, we've moved a long way away from that. I miss it, but you have to give to get.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, and I think we're getting a lot. I mean, with Texas and Oklahoma, because they're geographically aligned. it rekindles some natural geographic, old Southwest Conference type of stuff. It rekindles Texas A&M. It gives us some more blockbuster matchups, Oklahoma and Georgia and Alabama and Texas, and, all these different games that we would have only ever gotten once in a blue moon before. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm still a little freaked out whenever I see that SMU and Cal and Stanford are going to be in the ACC, and I still have to remind myself that all these West Coast teams are joining the Big Ten, and I haven't totally rationalized all of that yet. But when I look ahead to this next football schedule and I see Texas and Oklahoma in with the SEC, that makes sense to me. Like my mind can make peace with that, and I think it's good. I think it's going to strengthen the SEC. Realignment's going to strengthen the SEC more than it strengthens any other conference. Mm-hmm. Even though the Big Ten's adding 4 teams and the SEC is only adding 2, I think the strength and the sensibility of those 2 additions in the SEC really give the SEC a little bit of a leg up, just in terms of the quality of the product that's going to be out there on the field and on the court.
Yeah. David, last thing for you before we let you go, NBA Draft Combine taking place this week. I know a lot of NBA fans are going to be watching that to see maybe who they want their teams to draft, but a lot of college fans are going to also be tuning in because a lot of the guys that are participating in the NBA Combine also have eligibility remaining, have their name in the transfer portal in case they do not want to keep their name in the draft. Who are a couple names that you're keeping an eye on this week in Chicago?
Well, I know everybody around there is keeping an eye on one in particular.
You got that right.
Mr. David Jones, of course. Got to see kind of how that one shakes out, and that one will be huge. But there's a handful. The ones that are probably the most interesting to me are these guys who are also in the portal. Mm-hmm. And so you got a guy like Cam Christie, who's positioned himself for maximum leverage, had an awesome freshman season at Minnesota. Now he's in the portal with 3 years of eligibility remaining, going through the draft. So he's positioned himself for maximum leverage with this this decision he's got. And those are the ones that are probably the most interesting to me. Frankie Fiddler is another one who's committed to Michigan State in the portal, but he's going through it. You got a handful of guys like that who, Sion James, who was reportedly visiting Memphis. He's another one that kind of pops out as fitting that category. So those are the ones that are going to have the biggest impact on college basketball. Is not only do they have to choose whether or not they're going pro, but then if they choose not to go pro, then they got to choose where they're going to play college ball.
That's right.
And so there's probably 8 or 9 or 10 of those guys who have decisions to make, who are going to have a big impact one way or the other on college basketball.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. But as always, David, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again next Monday.
All right, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, David. David Cobb joining us from CBS Sports. He joins us every single week, talk college football and college basketball. And we're at that kind of weird time of the offseason where there's so much news coming out with college football, so much news coming out with college basketball.
Scheduling.
Oh, schedule. I was about to say, it's about to get even worse with scheduling coming out. So I don't envy David Cobb and his job having to cover everything happening in both sports.
We've had the trickling out of, the big upfronts are going on.
Sure.
The ad buyers are going on this week in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and that's why you got NBC News today with Big Ten news.
Yeah.
I think we'll get a little SEC news tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we get all the NFL. Also in the SEC scheduling news, you're going to get, instead of that whole 12-day thing that nobody can really make solid plans around, we're going to get dates either some this week or for sure around the end of the month when they meet down in Destin. We're going to get dates for well into the year, maybe including the last weekend, of hard and fast times for those games.
Wow.
I mean, we could get an Iron Bowl announcement soon that it's, shocker, 2:30 on ABC.
Shocker, yeah. I mean, who would have saw that coming? No, but that would be cool to get all of that information and not have to play that game that we've been playing.
Now, we know it's going to be ABC, ESPN, SEC Network, and there's going to be kick times starting at 11, 11:30, even some noon games, 2:30, some 3 o'clock games, and then anything from 5 on.
Sure. Yeah. So it's going to be different. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye and seeing when and if that news drops in the near future. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we talked a lot about the lottery, what happened with the Grizzlies, of course, but also some interesting things happening with the NBA playoffs over the weekend. We've got 2 important games tonight as well. So when we come back from the break, we'll talk some NBA playoffs. Stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better. I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20 plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
It's time to get to Gossett Kia on the Pike so Bobby J can put you in your new Kia today. Want summer fun and 41 MPG? We Gossett with 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $34.99 due at signing. How about 282 miles of EPA estimated range with new 2023 Kia EV6 Win? $249 a month. Get extra room and extra fun with 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $357 a month, both $39.99 due at signing. All 24-month lease plus 0% APR for 48 months. Available on the all-new Kia EV9. And peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So hurry to Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Includes all rebates and incentives. Price excludes $695 PF. Lease includes PF $695, $650 acquisition fee, EV6, P5610964, MSRP $50,200, Telluride RG $510,849, MSRP $38,305, Forte LXS RE78169, MSRP $21,820. Plus finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South T-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They cleared it up pretty quickly with this police activity on 240 southbound in South Parkway. Now, there's still a lot of traffic volume trying to get out of the Midtown area. It's still a little bit sluggish over here on 240 east up by Poplar, trying to recover from a crash there on 40 westbound near Sycamore View Road. That should start to recover here pretty quickly here in a few minutes as traffic builds down into South Haven right now at 55 going southbound. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in the Memphis area. Make it Tomahawk Crane and Rigging at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
We've talked about the NBA draft lottery, but we haven't really talked a ton about the NBA playoffs and the weekend that was. A very busy weekend in terms of games, but now some very interesting series. When we stopped talking on Friday, it felt like the Timberwolves were in complete control of this series, and now only a couple days later, this is a completely new series. And you're right, it is completely shifted to now Denver has the advantage with having 2 games at their home court. This has gone into a wow, what does this Denver Nuggets team look like, to this is the series of the tournament right now.
And if, little kid word, but if we can get the both series tied tonight 2-2, that means for the league, for their inventory of games, for their TV package, everything's going to go at least 6. Yeah. You got to think 1 or 2 of those will get at least pushed to 7. Anything more than that, they love that, and can really make money. And coming out of COVID, making money matters for everybody and everything. Friday night stunned me. I just never would have dreamed Denver would have gone in and done that to this young Minnesota team, and I think it's had I think it will have an impact the rest of this series. It's now Denver's series, and they turned it Friday night with the 27-point win.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think everyone thought Timberwolves have all this momentum after winning both those games in Denver. They're going to go home. You got to think the arena is going to be rocking.
Towel waving.
Yeah, and they're just
glue lady's not gluing herself to the floor.
That is a difference, I guess. But no, I mean,
have we checked on glue lady?
No, I am curious how she's doing. But it was honestly,
anybody's rolling around with industrial glue. I don't want to mess with.
No, or the one that came here for that one game and chained herself to the basket.
Had their own cuffs.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Man, I can't get this ink pen through security. How'd they get cuffs through?
I get stopped every time because of my belt buckle. And it's not even like a big belt buckle. It's just a regular belt. They're like, sir, are you wearing a belt? Yes, I am. Okay.
I got trousers on.
Right. I have belt on. But no, it's the exact opposite Friday night. Like you mentioned, Nuggets come out, and it kind of goes back to these are the defending champs. They're the champs for a reason.
They stood
Nothing
up.
really changed about this roster. Yeah, they lost Bruce Brown. I understand. Good piece. But they're the champs. They have the MVP, and they've won a lot of games for a reason. And they're now kind of flexing on, hey, don't forget about us. We're still that team.
Saturday at the Redbirds game, I had a friend of mine that told me He said, you had it so wrong yesterday when we were talking about the Knicks, and I rejected the Draymond Green treatises of the Knicks have been lucky. He said, Brett, they have been lucky. He said, what they've done in this playoff to win the first series and to get these 2 games, he said, this is a big Jeremy Lin total production.
Oh, man.
And I'm sitting there watching that game yesterday.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, my friend at the Redbirds game Saturday is right. The Knicks may have Draymond Green may be right. And it may have been the biggest total team Jeremy Lin event ever. And if they don't go in and win this series, for all we've made of how much fun Madison Square Garden is, and it's better when they're involved, and when it's rocking, it makes the whole, that when that organ's grinding at Madison Square Garden, the whole league kind of has a different pulse about it.
Sure.
They won one series.
Yeah, they did.
One series.
They did.
And we get this hot and bothered, and so for MSG being that great place, they haven't won it in 51 years.
No, you're right. They
won
haven't.
it all.
But it also feels like, and I know it's not, but it feels like this entire team's banged up and injured because they were only running out 7 guys. And so they're all out of gas. They're banged up. You got Brunson out there playing on one leg. You got OG Anunoby not able to play right now. They got to find a way to get OG back. I mean, OG has been a massive piece that they're missing. Hartenstein's having to try to play as many minutes as he can because Mitchell Robinson's now injured and can't play.
And Hartenstein's having that depreciating value to him.
Yeah, and
what do you think of the Jeremy Lin theory? This has been a team Jeremy Lin version.
It's almost scary, though, because like any other team, it's just like, oh, that's funny, but it's the Knicks. It's the team that actually had Jeremy Lin, and now
because that only happens with him in New York.
Sure, absolutely.
If he hits that 5-6 weeks that he hit in Portland,
sure. Nobody's talking about it.
Nobody notices.
No, it's the big lights of New York and that market and those fans. And
I'm still for the Knicks, but I think they're out of gas.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, it's been impressive what the Pacers are doing. Obviously, yesterday, I'm hoping is just a complete anomaly and that the rest of this series isn't like that, but they were in complete control all night long. It was never really a game. And so we'll see. I mean, that next one's going to be huge.
Home being everything in Knicks Pacers and meaning nothing in T-Wolves Nuggets.
Absolutely zero. I mean, the exact opposite.
I got it all figured out.
It's almost like home court disadvantage at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand it at all. What have you made though, Brett, of this Thunder Mavericks series? Because Mavericks now hold a 2-1 lead, can really take full control of this tonight in Game 4, and those pieces that we've been questioning, will they be able to step up? They've been really stepping up for this team lately.
It has. I think the Mavericks need in a win that explosive Kyrie Irving night. He's been good in the wins. Only had 9 in one of them.
Yeah.
He's been good, but I think you need that really heat check 40-point night from him to carry them, especially with Luka Doncic hurting, hurt. And the Thunders looked young.
They have, and it felt
and
like
they are young.
They're very young, and you thought that you would get to that point eventually, and now it's starting to kind of show against this Mavericks team that has 2 no doubt superstars on their team, and then you get what PJ Washington's been doing these last couple of games. I saw this nugget today. I maybe should save this for big number of the day, but PJ Washington in their last 2 wins has combined for 56 points and 12 made threes. I mean, he is just playing out of his mind. A couple weeks ago, Brett, you asked me who I thought needed to step up, and I said PJ Washington was going to be that guy that needed to step up, and he's doing that and more to try to kind of will this Mavericks team to really get something going. And it looks like, and this tonight will be a big one, it feels like they kind of have something going right now.
Josh Giddey looks like it's too big for him right now.
Yeah.
There are a couple players on the Thunder looking young and like this might be a little too big for him.
Sure. No, absolutely. And Giddey's kind of looked like that the entire series. I remember I think it was game 1. I was at Topgolf with some friends, and one of them was like, "Get Giddy!" He unfortunately he had I think OKC money line or something like that. He's like, "Get Giddy off the court." I mean, this is ridiculous.
On everything.
Yeah, I don't know who he had, but he was not happy about Giddy for whatever reason. But no, Giddy, I mean, he's kind of struggled at times, and you're right. Other guys that have really looked young, so we'll see how this plays out. But that should be a really fun game to watch tonight, Game 4 in Dallas.
Now, I know everybody's getting ready for that summer road trip, and you need to start it at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. That's the first exit on Highway 78. After you cross into Mississippi, you're right there at Kraft Goodman Road. That's at All-Star. In the family road trip, we're getting prepared for summer. All-Star Chevy right there in Olive Branch, ready with the Silverados, the Suburbans, all the Tahoes. Get up to 30 miles per gallon with your new All-Star Chevy Equinox or Trailblazer. Financing to 1.9 and no payments for a full 90 days. All-Star Chevy, they have a great deal on a new 24 Blazer EV. Get charged up for this 36-month lease on this Blazer EV at just $369 a month. Only $2,500 down in the usual tax, title, and license. For details, ask any sales consultant. You can see a ton of Silverados there at All-Star in Olive Branch. Discounts up to $10,500 and 1.9 financing. College students, grads, military, teachers, healthcare workers, first responders, an instant extra $500 bonus back. You want pre-owned? They have it. Everything you want right there on the lot. All the Jeeps and trucks and even a Corvette. As we celebrate and come up on Memorial Day, all our friends at All-Star have asked me to remind everyone to remember all those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in serving our country as we commemorate them around Memorial Day together. Let's drive to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time to have a good time at Mugshots Grill and Bar in Olive Branch and Collierville. Come by for half-price happy hour 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with domestic drafts and $3 snacks. Then try one of Mugshot's 19 specialty burgers, including the Mugshot Burger. Finish it in 12 minutes and it's free. Plus, you get a free shirt. Mugshots in Olive Branch, 6400 Goodman Road, and Mugshots in Collierville, 656 West Poplar. So cheers to great food, good drinks, and fun company at Mugshots Grill and Bar, where you're always having a good time.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started Wesley Financial Group to do one thing: help people get out of their timeshare nightmare. When you buy a timeshare, the timeshare company can raise your annual maintenance fees at will. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Want out of your timeshare? Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Don't sweat a swing and miss thanks to insurance tokens from BetMGM. Add an MLB wager to your bet slip and activate your bet insurance token. If your bet with the token applied doesn't hit, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets up to a specified maximum amount. That's another chance to step up to the plate and bet on the action out there on the diamond. Baseball is America's national pastime, and BetMGM's favorite pastime, making the sport even more amazing for fans. Whether you want to bet on a no-run first inning, try a signature bet, or take a home run prop, BetMGM has a loaded lineup for all 9 innings all season long. Go to your BetMGM account today to claim your bet insurance token and get your stake back in bonus bets if your MLB wager using the token doesn't win. Only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks and official sports betting partner of MLB. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older. Tennessee only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
I've got Rockin' Ronnie Smith on the line at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. And Ronnie, it's the season for the Memorial Day sales event.
It's time to rock, Randy, in your new 2023 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive. $25,889 or $389 a month. That's $5,206 off MSRP. How about a 2024 Dodge Hornet GT all-wheel drive, packing up to 268 horsepower, plus 295 pound-feet of torque, 32,320, plus power up in our 2023 Dodge Charger SXT 4-door, $28,072. That's over $9,000 off MSRP.
So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike, or online anytime, GossettMotorcars.net.
All 75 months at 8.99 APR, 3,500 down, Renegade Triple P 56,520, MSRP 31,095, Charger PH 636,171, MSRP 37,120, Hornet R3A 152,64, MSRP 34,820. Price includes all rebates and incentives and excludes PF 695. Payments includes PF 695. All exclude tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, my big number today has got to be the number 20. It's an NBA big number from the NBA playoffs. I guess I could have gone with the draft lottery, and my big number could have been 3, a 3% chance the Atlanta Hawks had to get the number 1 spot. But no, I'll go with the number 20, but keep it in the NBA. Jalen Brunson has scored 20-plus points in each of his 20 playoff games for the New York Knicks. This was before yesterday's game, so I don't know if this continues, but I wrote it down because I saw it and I kept it, so I'll have to check to see if this holds up. But before yesterday's game, he had scored 20-plus points in each of his 20 playoff games for the Knicks. It's the third time a player has had 20 straight 20-point playoff games to begin a career with an NBA team, joining Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who had 40 straight with the Lakers and 27 straight with the Bucks.
Yeah, he was
That's
that good.
Incredible.
He was, and he is. And when I see him doing the ads for the stroke medicine, I really worry about his health and the year he was honored by the Hyde Foundation at the National Civil Rights game. Across the room, you looked over at him, kind of back in the green room, and they were being interviewed, and I thought, there's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's why. I mean, that's one of those legends that you're like absolutely starstruck.
Just a Goliath, and
Yes.
what he has stood for, what he's done, and you almost didn't want to approach him. It was almost mythic, like
Sure.
and so much bigger than everybody too. But from Power Memorial to UCLA to the Bucks to the Lakers to his standing, and it's why I'm there on Michael Jordan being the best player ever, and I'm there that LeBron James is in an argument with him. Okay, I'm fine.
Sure.
But if you want to have the debate include Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Wilt Chamberlain, you sure can.
Oh, yeah.
My big number of the day, we had it with Doug Bell. He mentioned it. It's 4. It's the 4th time Valhalla in Louisville will host a PGA. It's the 4th major at Valhalla, and they're all PGA championships. And the course is now owned by the PGA of America, and that's why the 2008 Ryder Cup was there, and it was a great scene. In 96, Mark Brooks won. In 2000, Tiger Woods won. In 2014, Rory McIlroy won. The 3 previous winners, that was all in PGA championships in the month of August. This will be the first time in May. And those 3 previous, we had 2 playoffs, and with Mark Brooks beating Kenny Perry and with Tiger beating Bob May. And we had Rory McIlroy win by 1 shot over Phil Mickelson in 2014. So late Sunday, I expect it to be real close.
Yeah, no, I hope it's real close, and kind of like we're talking, I hope weather is not a big factor this week.
Friday looks like you need Noah's Ark.
Oh no, I hate to hear that. Well, hopefully,
and a big field.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They're going to have to split tees and
be some issues.
do all that.
Certainly. Well, I just saw this. We've been talking the NBA and NBA playoffs. I just saw this a couple minutes ago. OG Anunoby has been ruled out for Game 5 on Tuesday, so certainly that's a big hit for the Knicks, and we'll see what happens in
that
that game
media
tomorrow.
that love this Nick love affair the last 4 weeks.
Is that?
They will crush them when they exit.
100%. Yeah, it's going to be, not enough. How could you not get past the Pacers?
You won 1 series.
That's right, yes. Love them when they're doing well, and then turn on them the second that they start to struggle. So we'll see, but definitely 2 really interesting games tonight, and then tomorrow night will be a fun night of basketball as well. Well, we need to get to a break and wrap up our second hour. We've been talking a lot of NBA, and that will continue to start our next hour. To Michael Cole from the Commercial Appeal, he'll join us. We'll talk a lot about the lottery, what now the offseason looks like with the Grizzlies getting the number 9 pick, and also the ongoing NBA playoffs. We'll do all of that next on Sports Time.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Make your next grill your last with a Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Save money on fuel, eating out, and replacing expensive grills that cannot match the flavor of the Big Green Egg. Ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes with temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between with ease. Change your at-home cooking experience for life. Go to shop.biggreenegg.com.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir. It's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get preseason in pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Includes all rebates and incentives. Price excludes $695 PF. Lease includes PF $695. $650 acquisition fee. EV6 P5610964. MSRP $50,200. Telluride RG510 $849. MSRP $38,305. Forte LXS RE780 $169. MSRP $21,820. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
I got Jeff Allen on the line to hear about some crazy deals happening at Gossett Kia southbound Mariah.
Randy, I'd love to give all our customers our best deal. 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG highway, $199 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 282 miles EPA estimated range will get you where you want to go in the 2023 Kia EV6 Win, $249 a month, plus a 2024 Telluride LX, $357 a month. Both $39.99 due at signing and 24-month lease.
And 0% for 48 months on 2024 EV9 and peace of mind with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, we'll make you happy at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More, there's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park and New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They're working a wreck over here on 40 westbound off-ramp at Sam Cooper. They have the bottom of that ramp closed. Now, it's pretty sluggish over here on 240 East trying to get past Poplar. Also, it's heavy, but it's moving right now on 240 East from Mill Branch until you get out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. As you get onto Bill Morris going outbound out towards Collierville, that looks pretty good shape right now. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in the Memphis area. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour. And joining us to talk Grizzlies and also the NBA, DeMichael Cole joins us now. We've got breaking news that we'll get to during this segment with DeMichael, but Donovan Mitchell will be out tonight against the Boston Celtics with a left calf strain. So some breaking news there for a big-time game tonight between the Cavs and the Boston Celtics. But like I mentioned, DeMichael Cole joins us now. We're going to get to some NBA playoff talk towards the end of this segment, but we got to start off with the big news from yesterday. The NBA lottery has concluded. And DeMichael, the Grizzlies, no, they do not jump up like we all thought and hoped they would. They drop down 2 spots to number 9. What did you make of the draft lottery yesterday and now with the Grizzlies drafting number 9? Where does the front office go from here?
Well, now you have clarity, right? More than anything, you have a sense of direction. Hey, we're picking here, so we know what we need, how to get it, and what else has to be done in conjunction with this move. Now, there are a couple ways to look at this. Number one, I think the first thing that a lot of people thought is, well, this kind of puts you out of the position for Donovan Clingan and Alex Sarr. So now you kind of got to reevaluate how you want to address the big man situation, whether that's through the draft, whether it's, trading back, trading up in the draft, whether it's free agency. You got to reevaluate how you want to address that thing. And then number two, what do you do with the position, with that number 9 pick? I've always been an advocate of best available, and things work themselves out. In today's basketball is so positionless. You can, if a player's good enough, they're going to play, and then they'll find a way to put them on the floor, or you can move them and get another player that kind of fits, better around, their star group of Dez, Ja, and Jaren, or whatever the case may be. But the point is, I'm not like a lot of people that say, oh, this is a weak class, number 9 spot isn't number 9 in typical years. I don't really agree with that. I think this is a weak class at the top. You don't have that certified someone who's going to come in and average 20 points as a rookie and win Rookie of the Year type of generational player. But what you do have is a lot of players who I wouldn't be surprised to have a lot of solid NBA careers. Like, there is a legit reason why, if you look at pretty much all these mocks from 1 to 10, maybe 2 to 10, you're seeing a lot of the same names, but they're all scrambled. Like, I've seen mocks with Donovan Clingan at 9. I've seen mocks with Donovan Clingan at 2. I've seen Rob Dillingham at 2. I've seen Rob Dillingham at 8. I've seen Reed Shepherd at 9 to the Grizzlies. I've seen Reed Shepherd at 3. Like, that's the situation that we're looking at here.
And last year, the easiest preseason prediction maybe in the history of the NBA, back to LeBron's. In LeBron's rookie year, he had Carmelo Anthony's rookie year, too. Everybody had Victor Wembanyama as rookie of the year, and he won it unanimously, not a dissenting vote, and he deserved it to win with unanimity. You're not going to have that next year. In the preseason predictions next year, you could have up to 10 names of and maybe not land on the eventual winner, DeMichael.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to situation next season. Like that season could very well play out where the most talented player is not the one to win, for it. I think that wouldn't surprise me. I think we could look at a case where a guy, goes to, a certain situation, starts more than other players, and takes advantage of the situation. And there could be a couple other guys who become, more late bloomers, in this type of class. But what I see is a lot of solid players, and to me that helps a team like the Grizzlies because, they don't need, a superstar. Sure, it'd be great to get one, but they don't need it. They have their core in place. It hurts those other teams that are in the top 10 that are craving for that influx of talent to kind of take their team to the next level. The Grizzlies don't really need that. So they're one of the teams that I don't think, I know that everyone's hurting over we're going to miss out on Clingan and things like that, more than likely. But still, I mean, I've always been of the thought that tough. It's to tell a rookie to guard, Jokic, bang with Rudy Gobert in the playoffs, go against Ivica Zubac and, Karl Anthony Towns, Nurkic, all these different Western Conference bigs as a rookie and kind of, hold your own.
You said that you don't want to call this a bad draft by any means, but there are a lot of people out there that are calling it a bad draft. They're calling it a weak draft, and obviously we're talking right now about that number 9 pick and drafting somebody with there, but there's always the idea of trading that 9th pick somewhere else, maybe falling back in the draft, or maybe, just getting out of the first round completely, maybe getting something nice in that return for the number 9 pick. How many teams out there would want to trade up into the top 10? Do you think that this draft is good enough that teams would want to get into the top 10 to go draft a guy?
I don't know. You know, I don't think. You know, I put it like this. I think it'd be easier for the Grizzlies to trade up than for the Grizzlies to trade down.
Yeah.
In this draft, and the reason is because let's say trade up, for example. You know, if the Grizzlies are trading up, I would like to believe that it is for one of the two aforementioned big men. More than likely, it'll be for Donovan Clingan, because Alexander Starr is pretty much top 3 on every mock. At least Clingan has some, you know, some diversity to where he is from 2 to 9, you know, all over the place. But he's pretty much top 6, top 7 on most mocks. But if he falls out of the top 4 or top 5 or whatever the case may be, I could see a scenario where the Grizzlies would want to trade up because, you know, those teams in that range wouldn't mind trading down because of the fact that none of them have a need for center necessarily. Like, I could see a scenario where the Spurs would draft him, but they're not desperate for a center. You know, they could always play Victor Wembanyama there, but I could see a situation where they say, oh, let's get clean alongside of Victor Wembanyama and put Victor at the 4. You know, that could be a situation they want to pursue, but they don't have to. Mark Williams is in Charlotte. They have a nice first-round pick young center there. Portland is at 7, right? DeAndre Ayton, they just made that big trade for him. They're paying him, $40 million a year. Too soon to go get another center when you got that much money committed to a guy going forward. So when you get past 5, these teams have controllable centers. You know, Jalen Duren actually had 5 as well for the Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see one of those teams saying, oh, we know, you know, there's going to be a team like the Grizzlies, and there's probably going to be a couple more teams that want to trade up to get their hands on that center. And we, quite frankly, we don't need them. And they don't mind going back from 7 to 9 or 5 to 9 or whatever the case may be, because the guy that they want is probably going to still be there on the board. And if he's not, it's going to be a player that's probably just a little bit lower on their board that they still can take there. So I think it's more realistic trade up. Trading down is a little bit tougher. Now, I will say this, though. The top 10 of this draft, I think when you get to the back end of that was Stephon Castle, Ron Holland, and those guys, there is a gap. You know, Dalton Knecht is in there as well. But when you get to the next level of prospect, well, the Jacoby Walters from Baylor, Yves Missy, you know, as well from Baylor, the rim-running big man that you got over there, Cal Filipowski from Duke, Jared McCain from Duke. Those are the second level of mid-first-round prospects that come behind, you know, that top-tier group. So I could see some teams could make a play on a guy like Ron Holland. Like, it's very possible. But if you ask me, hey, is it easier for the Grizzlies to trade up or trade down? I think it's more realistic for them to trade up than down in this draft.
DeMichael, I did the whole doom, despair, agony, and night of House of Horrors. I did the whole lottery night has never been kind to the Grizzlies. That was my fandom talking. Do you think fans are feeling that more than Kleiman and company are feeling it? Do you think they're okay? This is where we are. Let's play. Let's go.
Yeah, because I mean, don't get me wrong. This was a miss to a certain degree. You know, I feel like the draft could have made this offseason easy for the Grizzlies. Could have made it easy. Get a top 4 pick. Okay, boom. Get Donovan Clingan. There's a center that you had. Maybe in free agency, go get someone for the minimum, you know, at the center spot, and make a couple moves around the margin. And you're ready to roll. But now you got to get a little bit complex. You know, now that you're drafting at 9, you got to take these player interviews, these workouts to a whole nother level. You need the whole front office watching. You need your best scouts, you know, tuned in to what's going on, because it's touched on the prospects are so close in rankings when you get to that 4 to 10 range that it's very realistic that the guys at 7, 8 could be potential all-stars. Or get the guy at 9 that, you know, sitting on the end of the bench his whole career, and then the guy at 10 is a consistent starter. Like, that's very realistic. You know, that could happen. Not even just to the Grizzlies. It could be the other way around for one of the other teams, because you don't want to be the ones to miss. I think at the end of the day, the offseason just got a little bit more difficult. So I think it is a miss from that standpoint. But at the end of the day, too, a lot of the Grizzlies' goals are still right in front of them. They need to get it, and they still can accomplish that. You know, maybe the draft is reason to double down. You know, you just talked about trading down. Maybe you trade down a few picks, put yourself in position for Yves Misi, Kaleo Ware, Kyle Filipowski, that group of big, and you double down and get another big in free agency as well to kind of make sure you hit on the position. So there are a lot of ways that you still can go about it, but I think at the end of the day, not getting that top 4 pick just made it a little bit more difficult from the standpoint of the Grizzlies got to get a little bit more creative in how they address this.
Yeah. Earlier today, The Athletic reported that there were going to be some changes made to the Grizzlies staff, that Taylor Jenkins was currently working on restructuring his bench. What changes do you expect to see to this group of assistant coaches, and what kind of wrinkle does this throw into this offseason?
Yeah, it's something I've kind of heard about a little bit between the cracks, but nothing too substantial. I know that, guys like, Ace, Anthony Carter, for example, he's had a huge impact on the development of a lot of these guys. Jake LaRave and all these guys compliment what he's brought in his 1 year on the staff. I'd like to think that that's one guy who's, certainly safe. We know what Taylor Jenkins thinks of Patrick St. Andrews, who's right now actually coaching, at the Scouting Combine in Chicago. He's another one. But, a lot of those guys have been there a while, and at some point, like we've talked about with Taylor Jenkins, with you, Brian, with Brett, we talked about the idea that the Grizzlies just don't really look different, over the last few seasons. It's been the same thing. They're a dominant team in the paint. They struggle shooting the basketball. And some of it is personnel, but some of it is coaching as well. And one thing that I'd like to point out is that this kind of, tells us the direction, in terms of where Taylor Jenkins is.
The comfortability.
Yeah. This is hey, you gotta make some moves. We're gonna give you free will to make some changes around here, but I think it's safe to say, we're not saying the seat is hot or anything like that, but they're turning the heating pad on, and it's starting to warm up a little bit because this is an acknowledgement that change is needed and changes have to be made. And we know, as we talked about time and time again, John Moran is on his second contract. Desmond Bane is about to be on his second contract this upcoming season. Jaren Jackson Jr. next offseason is eligible for an extension. That'll be his third contract. The clock is ticking. You gotta really develop guys. You can't have any more, David Roddy's, the guys you draft in the first round and get shipped out, a year and a half. And so you can't have any more Zaire Williams, we're 3 years in and we still, I say we still don't know, what he's going to be. But the point is, he's a top 10 pick, and we just don't have enough certainty on him turning out to be a top 10 pick caliber player. So with all that being said, you need better development. You need, coaching to put those guys in the best position possible. I know we've talked about it time and time again, how Zaire Williams, you look at his mid-range numbers, his two-point field goal percentage numbers. At one point, he was comparable to Brandon Clark inside of the arc. And his three-point numbers were bad, but he was shooting more than half of his shots were three-pointers. And I think that's a coaching thing. As a coach, you should say, come on, you're taking 50 shots, 30 of them are three-pointers, and you're one of our best finishers on the team. We need to switch that up. So this is an acknowledgement that some changes need to be made. But more than anything, I'm looking at it from Taylor Jenkins' perspective. He has to, one, make some good hires, in this case, and two, have a really productive season next season.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking forward to and expecting. I still have confidence in everybody, front office, Taylor Jenkins, and whatever staff changes he makes. And another source of comfort I think that everybody can relate to, if G.G. Jackson were coming out this year in this draft from North Carolina, he's better than any player in this draft, isn't he?
We're talking about how weak this draft is, right? Like, imagine if G.G. Jackson was the number one ranked player out of high school in these guys' class. With Ron Holland was in his class. We're talking about Rob Dillingham.
Yep.
Was in his class. Reed Shepard. All these guys were highly ranked recruits in G.G. Jackson's original class, and G.G. Jackson was ahead of them. So, with that being said, I think it's fair to say that if Gigi Jackson was playing his second year of college basketball, or whatever the case may be right now, he'd be, right there, in the top 3, top 4, potentially even for the number 1 pick, in his draft.
DeMichael, where do you think Zach Edey goes? That's going to be one of the many fun storylines on draft night, and he might even be into the first year of the second draft, or our second night of the draft as we go to two nights. If he's around for that pick in the second round for the Grizzlies, they just about have to take him, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Here's my thing. When it comes to drafting, sometimes I just feel like we get into this overthinking, what our eyes are showing us. Our eyes have showed us that this was the best player in college basketball without a doubt. 2 seasons in a row. Without a doubt. Both years. And the year before that, he was really, really good. But 2 years in a row, it was without a doubt, hands down, Zach Edey was the best player on the floor every night he played. He was ridiculously consistent in all these things. And sometimes we like to how does he project? His feet laterally, the spacing of the NBA, and all that. Worst case scenario, I think there is some productivity there. Like, he sticks in the NBA to me. I look back to the fact that even at FIBA, he made Team Canada as a collegiate player, and we saw Team Canada had some real good talent on it. Led by guys like Shea Gilgeous, Lou Dort and Dylan Brooks and Nikhil Alexander-Walker, players of that caliber. And he made that team, last summer. So there's some talent there. I mean, he was good enough to play for Team Canada. He's good enough to win AP Player of the Year twice. So to answer your question, I think mid-first round, late first round, we could see a team say, hey, look, the productivity is there, and they're willing to take the chance. Sure, you don't see a lot of 7'4", 300-pound guys in today's NBA. It's a different league. But everything that our eyes have shown us with him has been dominant. I've been looking at previous big men, that were drafted very high, and I think back to like Marvin Bagley. There were several games where I looked at Duke, looking back on it. It's like, okay, you could see there was some rawness to him a little bit. DeAndre, the last game he played, they played. I think Arizona played Buffalo. I was looking at that not too long ago, and you could kind of tell in that game that, not necessarily that he's soft, but you could see that, physicality bothers him.
Yeah, they got beat.
They got beat. They did. And he was a big reason why. Like, you would like to think, your 7-footer going against a smaller team, he dominates you, move on to the next round. But no, they got upset because their 7-footer couldn't do much, against a...
Yeah, absolutely.
He made Nate Oates a lot of money that day.
Sure did.
He made Nate Oates a lot of money.
Sure did.
We saw teams try to guard Zach Edey like that. Mm-hmm. It didn't work. We saw Donovan Clingan. I mean, I'd like to say Donovan Clingan had one of the better performances against Zach season, and he still scored over 30 points. So our eyes are showing us productivity. I think mid-first, late first, he's going to be there for the taking.
Mike, we still got you. I think we lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, no worries. I wanted to ask before we let you go, again, talking to Michael Cole from the Commercial Appeal, the Grizzlies beat writer. We certainly got the NBA playoffs continuing to go right along, even though a lot of people now kind of turning their attention to the draft with the Combine going on, lottery yesterday. When you look at some of these series, have been really, really fun. You look at Mavs and Thunder, they'll go Game 4 tonight. You look at Knicks and Pacers, tied 2-2. You look at Minnesota and Denver 2-2. What do you make of some of these series? Which one has been the most intriguing to you?
Now, I mean that. How about the pendulum swing in that Minnesota series? I mean, people were trying to call Jokic they're saying, he called out his MVP.
One-hit wonder.
That's right.
No, one-hit wonder. All that, and I mean he quieted that pretty quick. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I picked the Timberwolves to win the series, so I'm not going to pivot now. I think they got to adjust. Rudy Gobert to me is clearly this is one of those series. We've seen it in Utah a few times where there were certain series where it's like, okay, it's obvious that this isn't his type of series. Sometimes when you get to the playoffs, you got to make those decisions. We saw the Grizzlies bench Steven Adams after starting him the whole season, and he went to DNPs in that series against the Timberwolves. This might be that moment. You know, Rudy Gobert missed that game in Game 2, and they played well without him. But the other series, it's obviously disappointing that you get Donovan Mitchell. You know, the Celtics have kind of just got. I mean, it already feels like they're going to breeze through the Eastern Conference. So when something like that happens, it's just, you know, it's a little disappointing. That Mavs Thunder series though, that's the one. You know, both of the Western Conference series are just box office. But you know, I think the Knicks might restore order real soon. You know, over there, you see Tyrese Halliburton talking a little trash, getting a little excited. They're probably going to restore order over there. They just got the injury bug is eating them up, which is kind of. I predicted the Pacers to win the series because of that. You know, the Knicks have just gotten worn down. But those two Western Conference series stand out to me. I mean, obviously a big swing game for the Mavs again today. If they can go up 3-1, you know, against the Thunder, and then you know, the other series, Timberwolves and Nuggets, it still feels like just a really good heavyweight fight. I haven't lost faith in the Timberwolves by any means. I think the Nuggets are just a championship team that they're super counterpunch.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's going to be a lot of fun, and now I'm also seeing Jared Allen ruled out tonight for the Cavs. So looks like not a lot of good things going on for the Cavs. He's had
a tough deal. They showed a bench shot of him. And he has that same expressionless look. Mm-hmm. And the announcer said, well, that's been the look the whole playoffs. And what somebody else said, that's what he always looks like. I mean, you never know if he's happy or sad.
That's right. Yeah. So it's not good, but we'll see what happens tonight. DeMichael, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your week, and we'll do it again next Monday.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you, DeMichael.
DeMichael Cole joining us from the Commercial Appeal to talk a lot of Grizzlies after the draft lottery yesterday and some NBA playoffs.
Now, we went group lock on Denver in this first round. Yeah. We feel a little better about that now, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get that back to 2-2 now with 2 more games at home. I know home court hasn't mattered so far, but you got to think at some point it will.
And Lee Odwin, we're sorry we have to do this, but for better or for worse, you get Johnny's picks.
Right. Uh-huh.
So I have Oklahoma City, and Johnny had Oklahoma City. Brian had Dallas. Right. Group lock on the Knicks. Don't feel so good about that, do we?
No, certainly not as good as what we feel about the Nuggets.
Group lock on Boston, and I don't want to get there because of the Donovan Mitchell injury, but that news. You know, I don't think they evened it up at 2-2 tonight.
No, it already felt like a long shot even with Donovan Mitchell playing, and now with him out, I just looked. I think earlier today when John was on his show, I think the line was like Boston an 8.5-point favorite. Now it's all the way up to 12.5, 13-point favorite for Boston.
John will middle that.
Yeah, he absolutely will. So you know how he is, but
to pay his Roku bill,
certainly, of course, and the Netflix and all the other things he needs to watch the NFL.
He said, I'm going to spend $800 to consume NFL this year.
Yeah, he told me
$800 a month.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of money. He was telling me
that was a house note.
Sure, absolutely. So it's gonna be a lot of money, but hey, you know he's gonna do it, I'm sure, to watch the NFL. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Looking for a new show to dive into? Well, go to Hulu and see what's new, because Hulu has new stuff all the time, like the full season of FX's epic limited series Shogun, FX's new international spy thriller The Veil, starring Emmy and Golden Globe winner Elizabeth Moss, and don't miss the all-new crime series Under the Bridge, inspired by shocking true events and starring Riley Keough and Lily Gladstone. It's all new and it's streaming right now on Hulu.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyer's. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyer's?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyer's?
We like the double cheeseballs.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyer's?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyer's in Collierville's historic town square.
Tyler from Wendy's here. The best part of Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is every part. Unlike mornings, which have no good parts. Until now. Because with Wendy's new breakfast Cinnabon Pull-Apart, mornings finally don't completely suck. And now that mornings have warm cinnamon sugar rolled dough and ooey gooey frosting, are they the best part of every day? Probably not, but you get the idea. Get to Wendy's today and get the best part in every bite with the new Cinnabon Pull-Apart.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Cinnabon is a registered trademark of Cinnabon Franchisor SPV, LLC.
It's time to get to Gossett Kia on the Pike so Bobby J can put you in your new Kia today. Want summer fun and 41 MPG? We Gossett with 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $34.99 due at signing. How about 282 miles of EPA estimated range with new 2023 Kia EV6 Win? $249 a month. Get extra room and extra fun with 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $357 a month. Both $39.99 due at signing, all 24-month lease, plus 0% APR for 48 months available on the all-new Kia EV9. And peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So hurry to Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike online, KiaCovingtonPike.com. If you want it, we Gossett and Gossett Motor Cars.
Include all rebates and incentives. Price excludes $695 PF. Lease includes PF $695, $650 acquisition fee, EV6 P5610964, MSRP $50,200, Telluride RG $510,849, MSRP $38,305, Forte LXS RE78169, MSRP $21,820. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There's still a couple of wrecks out here in their clearing stages. Traffic's busy going outbound on Sam Cooper, trying to get back up on the interstate. It remains heavy over here on 240 East, passing Poplar. Heavy volume, but still looks pretty decent right now on 240 East from Mill Branch out to 385. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Times. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show and plenty to get to during What's Trending. But, oh, Brett, you know where I got to start, and I'm sure a lot of people know where I have to start. We talked earlier about scheduling news, a lot of scheduling news, NFL, college football, college basketball. I mean, it seems like everything is coming out all at once.
And today is Fox's day at the upfronts.
Right.
So they're ruling the day.
Absolutely. And so we've learned a lot about what Fox college football slate will look like, what the NFL slate will look like. But we did learn earlier, about an hour ago, I first saw the reports that the Dallas Cowboys will open the season in Cleveland against the Browns on September 8th at 3:25 p.m. Central Time. That is big news for me because, of course, I'm a big Cowboys fan. But the bigger news, it's slated to be the first game of Tom Brady's Fox broadcasting career. So opening with the Cowboys, but also TB12 making his debut in the booth. I'm already stoked for what day is it? September 8th? September 8th can't come soon enough.
Well, he's set for his debut that day. But if we had the horrible of occurrence of a Dak Prescott August camp injury, that could be TB12 at quarterback for the Cowboys that day.
TB12's debut as a Cowboy.
Because he's never retired.
No.
He's never officially retired.
Well, that's a good
I
point.
believe he's retired when they pull that drape back on his bust at Canton.
Well, you know, that's a good point, and that's what Bo, and we'll talk to Bo tomorrow afternoon. Bo said all year last year that he still would never say that TB12 is officially retired because you never know, he could always come back. But who knows? I don't know which way I would rather that happen. TB12 at quarterback or TB12 in the booth for the first Cowboy game of the season?
Now, if he's just merely calling that game at home, at my home, and for all the viewers around, I know between the Cowboys playing and him calling the game, should we watch that game down on our knees, praising him, giving all thanks to Tom Brady above?
You know what, Brett, maybe. I don't know.
I think he kind of expects us to.
He probably does. I mean, he's already got the roast under his belt, so that he's already got that. Now he's just got to go and do it on TV. And I'm sure he's just waiting to see social media and everything after the game is over of people telling him how great of a job he did.
I think he will do a great job.
Too.
I hope he does. I hope he does for the consumer, for us to have that inside view of the greatest NFL player ever, certainly the greatest quarterback ever. But I will remind people, there have been from the field great quarterbacks that were going to be can't miss in the broadcast booth that missed badly, and sadly one of those was Joe Namath.
Yeah,
missed badly.
Absolutely.
Joe Montana missed by a mile.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, I think everyone assumes he's going to be good, and certainly everybody hopes that he's going to be good. But
you never know where that next, especially in the analyst position, where that next star, where they come from. Dick Vitale would be the first to tell you that he'd have bet every cent he's made against him becoming that kind of star. But he did. It worked. His fun act. I mean that respectfully. His fun act. It worked. It caught on. John Madden probably thought, I'll get back in coaching.
Sure.
John Gruden probably wishes I'd have stayed in that analyst chair and never gotten back into coaching.
Absolutely.
And either not sent them, preferably, or deleted a bunch of emails.
Of course. Absolutely. 100%. But, so we'll see what Tom Brady's, career looks like in the booth, and it sounds like that should
Cowboys
be
and Browns.
Cowboys and Browns, very interesting.
And for the Cowboys playing, look, the Browns were on the schedule, and you knew you had to go there. I'd rather play them in September than go up there in December and play them in Cleveland.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So,
and that's something we'll look at all that when we get the full release Wednesday. I think by Wednesday we'll have every game
honestly
piecemealed together.
Yeah, no, and I mean that might be better. I would like to get as much NFL scheduling news as I can before tomorrow afternoon at 5:00, so we can talk scheduling with Bo, rather than talk to Bo and then the very next day it all gets dropped. So we'll see what we can get in.
We're getting a couple of those international games, and also the NBC will televise an additional regular season NFL game this year, and it's going to be in prime time on Saturday night, December 21st, and it will be head-to-head against against the campus college football playoff game.
Oh, wow. That's interesting, Brett.
And I'm getting ready to find out. I've always said, let's just go up against them and see what's there. If we get splattered, then we know, you don't poke at the line. And it might be poking, well, in this case with NBC, poking at the peacock.
Oh,
but
I like that.
Maybe you don't even do that. Maybe you don't poke at anything Shield related. And that is probably the case, but let's just see.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting because it's just something you don't do is really try to go up against the Shield. You kind of try to avoid it, like you said, almost avoid it at all costs. But this will be, a big-time regular season NFL game versus a playoff game in college football. I mean, that's going to be a good litmus test.
A win or go home. And the backroom machinations of all this will be fascinating because, all right, that game on that Saturday night, that's on NBC.
Yeah.
What if Notre Dame's in the playoffs?
Oh, geez.
And all year long we've had the promotion of Notre Dame on NBC.
Sure.
We've had it for 30 years, and that's the college playoff game ESPN ABC goes with to try to get some of those NBC viewers.
Oh, man, that would be
And would NBC back channel tell Notre Dame, look, you can't demand it, but try to be the afternoon game.
Yeah,
if you can.
try to get this spot instead. I think they would definitely do that because you don't want it to go
it's
to
big business.
Yeah,
why wouldn't they?
You don't want it to go to ABC and ESPN. Oh man, I mean we're about to have some network warfare over Notre Dame football. I love it.
And the world we're in college football now, it's the Big Ten versus the SEC, and it's Fox and NBC versus ABC and ESPN versus Disney with the SEC package. That's the war that we're in, and with that, and I can't blame them at all. Today, Fox rolled out some September big noon games, and one of those will be when Bama goes to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
When they go to Camp Randall, well, Fox controls that, and that's going to be big noon. That will be the whole pregame set there, and at 11 o'clock, right to that game, driving all these SEC college football Bama fans to watching their product.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the week before that, Texas at Michigan also going to be big noon. So another, even though it feels weird to say SEC.
If you wanted the SEC, get the SEC package.
That's right. I mean, what are you doing?
Come on, Fox, play nice.
Yeah.
Which SEC's never played nice.
No,
I'm joking.
No.
Never played
and
nice.
neither do television networks. So.
Ever. And shouldn't. It's not a nice world. It's a win or get devoured world.
That's right. It's big business, and so a lot goes into it and a lot of money to be made on it.
I was texting with an SEC official, and he said it's big money, and I was asking the whole dynamic of would game day that's Disney controlled, SEC controlled.
Yeah.
Look, it has been. We know that. Even when it wasn't, it was. Would they want to go to Texas at Michigan? Would they want to go to Bama at Wisconsin and drive that help drive that big number? And his words back, he said it's going to be a case study to watch how the cross pollination plays out.
Interesting, huh? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
That's direct quotes.
Yeah, interesting. I like that. Brett, one more thing, another kind of TV thing, network-related issue that I wanted to get to and get your thoughts on, and I'm curious how this is going to play out, but you mentioned Peacock. Last year, Peacock was the home of the Sunday morning MLB, I think they called it the Sunday leadoff or something like that.
Changed it on the fly yesterday, didn't they?
Changed it on the fly. Now Roku will have those rights. for MLB Sunday leadoff, and it will start
this
weekend with the Boston Red Sox and the St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm already in love with it because it kicks my first pitch up Sunday afternoon when I'm there. Up an hour, that saves me on the back end getting home earlier. Thank you, Mr. Roku.
Yeah, we love that. So it's going to be interesting.
You know I love the Roku.
Oh, Brett, you're a big Roku guy. I mean, what is there not to like about Roku?
I would say the personification of Roku.
Yes, I think so.
I don't even know what it does.
Yeah.
I can barely find YouTube with my laptop.
Well, Roku a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, but this will be interesting because Roku is not real. This is kind of the first time where it's not really a service, a network service. This is Roku broadcasting it. So I'm very interested to see what it looks like.
Gonna have Chip Carey do the game.
Really?
Yeah, I just saw that.
Interesting. Just for this weekend, or is that for every week?
For that Cardinals game.
Okay, I see. Interesting.
And I would imagine they would go with local announcers.
Interesting, yeah.
Because that helps on the back end on expense.
Absolutely. So,
trust me, I've told the story. There was a person at ESPN that's been there a long time that told me last year that there was a time at ESPN you could turn in buying the space shuttle on an expense tab, and 2 weeks later you got your money for it.
Sure.
Just about anything. It was a Wild West. You could just spend, just dinner, all you wanted. Now, you better approve everything, have a receipt, just like everybody else in the normal corporate world.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So
they're always looking to save
definitely
50 cents.
For sure. So we'll see what this looks like over the weekend as it will start on Sunday, and I'm sure a lot of people...
I have no problem with that. I was in about the second year when our syndicator was TeleSouth, and they were great to me, and I'll love them to my last breath for it. Nice lady, VP of TeleSouth, she called me. This is year 2. She said, Brett, are you eating on the road? I said, well, of course I am. You can look at me and tell. She goes, we get no expense stuff from you. She said, last year, nothing. This year, nothing. I said, well, I'm eating in the press box, and I'm eating the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches down in the locker room. I'm fine. She goes, you know you can go eat. And I said, well, I don't ever believe in wasting your money, my money, or anybody else's money, Dr. Flynn's money, anybody's money. I said, there's no need for me to go out and have a big extravagant dinner.
That's right, and I'm sure they hung up and said, we love that guy. That's our type of employee. So that's great. Well, but let's go ahead and get to a break. We need to wrap this show up on the other side, so let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
We're here with David Cooper, Vice President of Genesis Diamonds. David, we're familiar with iconic brands. Are there designers for engagement rings?
Absolutely. Like every other industry, there are 10 renowned bridal designers who have been leading the industry for years. They are trusted, respected, and exclusive. Every jewelry store wishes to have them.
So what makes these designer engagement rings so desirable?
These designers drive a surge of customers to the store, making it the place to be. They attract shoppers who value quality, sophistication, and the ability to express their individuality through their engagement ring.
Can customers find these engagement rings in other stores?
Absolutely not. Other stores would love to have them, but they didn't make the cut. They have to settle for what they can get, not what they wish to have.
So Genesis has cornered the market.
Certainly. We offer a world-class exclusive selection from $1,900 complete rings to $250,000 celebrity rings. Best bridal designers in the world create these one-of-a-kind rings specifically to showcase your individuality like no other ring.
Genesis Diamonds, Poplar at Perkins Extended.
Tuning into this station was the first best thing you have done today. This is Sheldon Rosengarten, and I'm with you, Mallory, and we are both with Mark's Benstorff Realtors. What's the next thing we can advise people to do if they are selling their home?
The next best thing? Remember, Sheldon, the real estate market is changing, and you need honest, forthright help navigating the new environment. Doing it on your own is like driving a car in a blinding snowstorm.
Correct, The upcoming changes will mean a lot for both buyers and sellers, and that's why we always advise people to talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that we are one of them.
Sheldon, 2 to 3 real estate brokers? Really? Like 2 to 3 tee shots you always take?
Yes, It's important to have a choice, whether in real estate or in golf. Now, back into the fairway, and to find out how you will move you, call him at 497-9756, or find out why they often say when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 483-0546.
I've got Jason, the main man marshal, here, and he's ready to start something big at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. What's up, Jace?
Randy, I've got 42 MPG on the highway on the all-new 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE for only $249 a month. Or take your pick from the 2024 Tiguan S front-wheel drive or 2024 Taos SE. We Gossett at $279.28 a month.
That's a 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE, $249 a month. Or take your pick from 2024 Tiguan S or 2024 Taos SE, $279.28 a month.
And Randy, you know the deal. Make me an offer, because no reasonable offer will be refused.
Ask for Jason, the main man marshal, at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles per year. Taos RMO 51756, MSRP 26063. Tiguan RM 103,910, MSRP 31363. Jetta RMO 48802, MSRP 25506. Cross Sport RC 236449, MSRP 38981. Includes $3,000 rebate. Cannot be combined with special APR. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes fact file and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid at the end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito. So good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, Jared Goff has gotten paid. Another deal for the Detroit Lions. They're signing quarterback Jared Goff to a 4-year, $212 million contract extension that includes $170 million guaranteed. Sources tell ESPN, this is the tweet from Adam Schefter, Goff now goes from former number 1 overall pick to highest paid Lion in franchise history. He's been playing extremely well.
Henry Ford didn't make that at Ford Motor Company.
No, certainly didn't. So Goff is giving Motor City a new name, and certainly a lot of excitement there with what they've done over these last couple of years. So good for Jared Goff. Glad that he's able to get that extension.
The line's right there, and it was there to be had, and I thought they would have fared well in a Super Bowl. Remember, they beat Kansas City opening night last year, playing the champs opening the season. What I learned, and I, like everyone, celebrates this headline: Bronny James medically cleared to play in the NBA. We all celebrate that. But has he been cleared ability-wise to play in the NBA? If his last name was Smith, there's no way a guy who averaged 5 points and 3 rebounds on a bad team is being talked about being drafted. This is the big baller daddy play of all time, and it's not doing him any favors.
No, it absolutely is not. What I could have done without, I'm going to stick with the NBA and talk about the Cavs. This lineup that they're going to be rolling out tonight will definitely look different without Donovan Mitchell in the rotation. He's been massive.
It looks like a maintenance night.
It sure does. And a time where you cannot have a maintenance night if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers. But injuries happen. I completely understand it. But without Donovan Mitchell, I talked about it earlier. It went from about 8.5-point favorite in favor of to Boston, to now Boston about a 13.5-point favorite tonight. So big favorite tonight, and I think they'll at least get the win with Donovan Mitchell out.
I could have done without this. Why can't we just have the last go first in all these drafts? If you have a player like a Magic Johnson or LeBron James or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and you want to go 0-82 to position yourself for him, then try that and see how your fans react to it. And what if they're not that? I just don't understand why we got to go through that other than it's pretty good TV.
Sure. Always got to look out for the viewing markets. And hey, if we didn't have a lottery, what would they have done, Brett, for that 30 minutes on Sunday afternoon instead of ping pong balls? I mean,
break the game down.
That's right. 30 more minutes of pregame, I guess. Oh, where are you beaming tonight?
Me to American Airlines Center in Dallas for that atmosphere with the Mavs hosting Oklahoma City. Pretty must win tonight for the Thunder. I think Kyrie Irving's due one of those big games. Also in the Metroplex tonight, Guardians at Rangers.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be a really good one. Beam me tonight to Madison Square Garden. No, not for an NBA game, for the New York Rangers hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. This series, currently, the Rangers lead 3-1, but all of these games have been really, really close. This series is defined as overtime, as a lot of these games have gone the distance and more. We'll see if the Rangers can close it out tonight.
I'll be watching on the Golf Channel live from Valhalla at the PGA Championship and the run-up to the coverage, all their coverage this week to the run-up of the start of the PGA on Thursday. Celtics at Cleveland in about 8 minutes, and 14 baseball games and more scheduling leaks from around the football world.
Yeah, it's a busy, busy time with the basketball, the baseball, the hockey, the scheduling, a lot of stuff to keep an eye on. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Anticipation is building for